Dun, dun, dun. And we are.
Sweet.
Good morning, Brian Deneen.
Good morning, Draws.
How are you today?
Bomb.
How are you today?
I'm good, man. Uh,
We're
little
just
time.
we were just bullshitting about fish and chips.
Right. Fish and chips.
Let's
If you
start with
ever
that.
go overseas, do not order the fish and chips because you might as well be ordering it right here in the States because there's no
It's the
difference.
same shit.
It's the same shit.
So my story about fish and chips, real quick. So in our travels going over there, it took us a ridiculous amount of time. Flight. We flew into Paris, and then we took a train from Paris to London.
Hmm.
Okay. When we got to London, we were ahead of the people we traveled with, and their son was supposed to be in the Airbnb that we were staying at, and we had the address 20 Pelham Street in London, England. So we get a cabbie from the train station to the B&B. We show up, knock on the door, ring the little doorbell of the flat, and nobody answers. So we're like, shit. And as soon as we landed in Paris, our phones did not work,
Sure.
which I went to Verizon. Oh, Mr.
That's
Whiskers
fine.
is being
That's
a
fine.
slut. I went to Verizon before we went and I asked about getting an international plan. And the lady had recommended to me to not waste my money, right?
Okay.
Because she told me, she's like, it's a waste of money. Whenever you're over there, your phone will just, if you need it, you can just connect with their cell towers and it'll charge you $10 a day for 24-hour period. And
Okay.
we were only going to be there for like 6 days. So it's cheaper to just pay the $10 a day if necessary than to
Okay.
pay the international plan. Well, as soon as we landed in Paris, our phones would not connect to anything.
Hmm.
We would connect to Wi-Fi. If we were connected to Wi-Fi, they would work.
Okay.
But as far as cell phone towers, just regular cell service, we had absolutely nothing. Which, like I said, sucks when you're in a strange city and you can't just pull up.
Mhm.
So we were at this flat, nobody was answering, and we couldn't use our phones because we weren't connected to Wi-Fi, and we couldn't text the person and be like, "Hey, where are we at the right address?" Whatever. So we decided to walk down the street to find some place that had Wi-Fi and sit down. We
Okay.
found this nice little bougie cafe. It had little flowers next to it. It was a really nice place. Tables out on the street, and they
Okay.
had Wi-Fi. My Rachel went in. Uh, let's preface this by we're both kind of irritated at the time.
Oh yeah.
By the time we get to the
Damn,
cafe,
why not?
right? So in order to sit down and use their Wi-Fi, we got to buy something. So we sit down. I think she got. I don't remember what she got, but I ended up getting fish and chips. The fish and chips comes out, and if you don't know what fish and chips is, it's cod uh, on just is it beer batter?
Yeah, it's beer batter.
Beer batter,
Yeah.
deep fried on top of the chips is basically fries.
Right.
Deep,
It's
deep
fries over there. They call them chips.
Yeah.
But they're fries.
And it had the three sauces like you were telling me about,
Right.
right? And it came out, and I shouldn't have ordered it because I wasn't really fucking hungry. Like I was irritated, stressed out, like, and I ate a little bit of it and it just didn't sit well. It was super greasy, so I didn't finish it. And whenever the waitress came back after we figured out where we needed to be properly after using their Wi-Fi, we had asked for our tab, and the waitress asked um, if I didn't like the fish and chips. I was like, no, no, it's just I wasn't really hungry. We've done a bunch of traveling today. And hey, Mom Bear, will you turn the TV off for me? And I just didn't really care for it.
Okay.
And over there, they seem to be very proud about the food that they serve.
Okay.
And so whenever our tab came back, the manager came with the tab to double check.
Oh, okay.
So, and she's sitting there, and I explained the same thing. We just traveled and stressed. I wasn't really hungry. I shouldn't have ordered it, but we needed to order something. So he's fine, whatever. And it turns out that this cafe is run by a French top-notch chef, and the second floor of the cafe is a fine dining restaurant.
Okay.
So I basically said that this dude's fish and chips was crap, and he's a fine dining chef, like top notch. And I'm pretty sure we offended them.
Okay. So he's down there. I mean, did they work out in the same kitchen?
Well, what she said is the cafe is kinda like a little tester, like, "Hey, you can kinda taste a little bit of our
Okay.
food,"
Right.
just for your average everyday walking by person who wants to
Okay.
sit down on the side of the street and have a little something to eat by a nice chef. You can
Okay.
taste our food. If you wanna come back, you can try the
So
dining,
yeah,
but
the
I basically
$70,
said
$75 a plate kind of deal.
yeah, but I basically said this dude's, fish and chips was crazy. So, that's my
We just wanted to use your Wi-Fi.
oh,
It
yeah,
was crap.
that's our first experience in
Right,
London.
right. Tried to go to and our Airbnb and nobody was there. We're a little stressed out. Thanks for the Wi-Fi. Food
Yeah.
sucks. Yes, we'll give you a tip because we both.
No, because you don't tip over there, man.
That's right.
You do
You
not
do
tip. Yeah,
not tip.
I felt so weird because usually I'm a pretty generous tipper. Like I felt so weird not leave. I felt so bad not leaving a tip, but that's the way they do it.
Right,
And like, who am I to say that they're wrong? You know what I
right.
mean? Like,
I mean, that's now that I remember, because I want to say it was 2012. Yeah, I would say 2012, 2000, might have been 14. Me and my ex, we went to Ireland and we got there and we did the six kind of what y'all did. We did the 6 day deal
uh huh.
and we flew into Dublin, spent a day there, jumped on a train, ended up going to what's it called? I want to say Star, but it's not Star. Of course, it's not Star. But we went to another city and we stayed there for 2 days, and then we were supposed to get on another train and go somewhere else, but there was a lot of flooding going on at that point in time, so we had to take a bus
Okay.
because the train tracks were underwater.
Yeah.
Okay, so took a bus. Found out that my girlfriend at the time didn't like buses. She did not like to be on the bus.
Like
Well,
made her sick, didn't like it, or just didn't like
she
being on.
didn't like being that close to people.
Oh, okay.
Train, you kind
There's a
of you
little bit of
spread
space.
out. You got room
Bus is
to.
kind of cramped. Yes.
Bus was way cramped, especially when you got a train. It's got cars and people. So many people on it. A bus is a bus.
Mhm.
And they just crammed a bunch of people on there, and it was like I want to say on the train it would have been like an hour and 45 minutes. But we were on that bus for like 2.5 hours, and
Sure.
she was
Not like it.
not liking it. But the cool thing was, our last stop was Killarney, and it was beautiful. I mean, you see the horizon off in the distance, and it's just all the houses, all the building structure, even the streets were red brick, and everything it looked like it's been there for since 1800s. Beautiful,
Maybe
best,
long earlier.
yeah, probably earlier. You're right. Best duck I've ever had.
Duck.
Yeah, duck. And that's the thing about over there. I don't know if you experienced this, but there's not much steak. There's not much chicken. I mean, there is chicken, but it's free range. It
Yeah.
costs a little bit more than it does here in the States. In the States,
But it's not their whole menu.
oh no,
Like it's an extra
right,
dish off the side.
right. I mean,
It's not their main
right.
breakfast for
I
sure.
mean, the main menu is like like blood sausage. A lot of weird things. I mean, it was still good, but that duck. I mean, I've had duck here in the States, and I've had some good duck.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh! I mean, it was because I mean the duck I've had here in the States, it's hard to get all the gamey out of
Uh-huh.
it, and most in here in the
You got
States,
you understand you have to cook it right.
oh yeah, you have to soak it. You do all kinds of stuff just to get the gamey out of it.
Uh-huh.
But this over there was like, it was a totally different out of this world, not out of this world, but totally different taste altogether. I mean, on my palate, it's like I wanted to go back the next day and be like, I want more of that duck. But it's so good the way they prepared it. And but yeah, the bartenders. Of course, we were hitting pubs and
Mhm.
stuff like that. And we're getting drinks and we go to tab and I was like, I have to leave you a tab. I have to tip you It's the American way. And they're like, no, 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 it's all included because they get paid differently than the
Uh-huh.
servers and everybody here in the States. You know, what I don't even know, was it still at 216,
213.
two
It's still
thirteen?
213 an
Oh
hour.
my gosh.
It doesn't cover your taxes. You always end
No.
up owing at the end of the year.
Right.
Like,
Right. And it's like I know servers that will, and over there they get paid how many euros or pounds an hour,
yeah.
as if they were uh I will say hostess. Hostess gets paid
Well, some
more
in
per hour
well
than
in some of the restaurants around here, hostess will get paid a higher hourly rate, and then they'll get like 1% of tip share.
okay.
So they get some of the tip share, and then they get an hourly wage as well, which
So
I think is how it works over there.
right. Is it
Because an Englishman right before we left explained that the tips is included into the cost over there, and we noticed there was like a 10% gratuity
oh,
added to
okay.
each tab.
Right.
So that's what I'm thinking is they get an hourly rate plus they get a little bit of tip.
Right. The gratuities taken there.
Yeah,
That was I was like, still I was like, "This don't feel right just paying the tab and not
not
leaving
leaving.
something?" And I always did. I was no, because it's mostly coins. There is paper over there,
Mhm.
but I mean, most of the time it's coins.
Yeah,
I throw a couple, coin, and walk away.
yeah,
Like,
which
I
isn't
feel
that
better.
bad.
Right? Yeah, but it's like, I feel better. And whether they took it or not, it's up to them.
Yeah,
But it's not like they would get fired or anything, I don't think, or get in
I don't
trouble.
think so.
But
I think they do take it because there were a couple instances between London and Paris where somebody was did a little bit extra, so we left the change and whatnot. Just left a little extra.
sure,
Not tipping like we normally would tip, but just left a little extra on top of the tab,
right.
you know? Because like we went to Rachel booked us a dinner while we were in Paris, and it is a top notch. Like it was elevated. I think it was on like the fifth floor, and the view was the Eiffel Tower. I got this picture of me and Rachel kissing, and it's one of the greatest pictures I've ever taken in my life, dude.
Well,
I'll
of
show.
course,
I'll show you.
Paris.
Yeah, I'll show you when I'm done. Like we took this. I'm so glad we took this picture. But this restaurant that we were in was like Michelin award winning restaurant,
Oh,
like
okay.
top
Okay.
notch French chef
Okay.
restaurant. Like this is how you do fucking food in Paris, you know?
Right.
It ended up costing us 300 euro. Like their menu was you either pick the 5 course option, the 6 course option, or like the 8 course option. And that was their menu. Like the
Okay.
chef makes you, and then I think you got to either choose fish or chicken.
Okay.
But that's their menu. And then Rachel, we both picked the 5 course menu, and Rachel got a couple glasses of wine with dinner.
Of course.
And it cost us 300 euros. And I left 300 euros, and I felt so bad because typically, if we go here to a restaurant like that and we spend 300 bucks,
Yeah, you're
I
leaving a
usually
$50
leave at
tab.
least 50 to
Right.
100 bucks
Right.
in there, depending on how good the service is, you know? I'm like, ah,
Yeah. And
like
not
I
only that,
felt
because you're a server, and
exactly.
it's like, I do this for a living. I can't just walk
And
away without giving you something.
I know, but that's the way they do it. And like,
Yeah.
I had to force myself on that one because I felt like the manager was gonna pop over and be like, "Hey, was there something wrong with the service? Why did you not? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah. Why did you
because
not tip?
it was an absolutely amazing experience
Oh,
at
of
that
course.
restaurant,
Yeah.
like, and I totally would have thrown down an extra 100 euros on top
Sure.
of that because we're on vacation. Spend like
Right.
I want you to go home happy too, man, because I'm gonna go home fulfilled because that was delicious.
Well, yeah.
You know
Not,
what I
not only
mean?
delicious, like this is uh that's kind of like a bucket list kind of thing,
Right?
especially for uh bride and groom. Anything. I mean, I don't know what you guys did for a honeymoon, but I mean, that's the kind of things that people do for that kind of situation. They get married, they go to Paris, they do the honeymoon. You
Ra-
know.
Rachel actually lied to him whenever she made the
Oh,
reservation.
yeah.
So we just passed our 8 year
Okay.
on June 13th, but she had told him that it was our 10 year because usually a 10 is like a big
Sure.
one. So she told me it was our 10-year
Okay.
anniversary.
Well, if they don't know any
Well,
better,
technically, it had been 10 years since I asked her to be my girlfriend.
sure.
So I mean, she wasn't that far off.
Right. But
But it wasn't our
well, it's
10.
not like they're gonna say, "Well, let's see the marriage,"
Yeah. We just ended up with a third dessert.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
we ended up with an extra dessert, which was absolutely amazing.
Nice, nice.
I do understand now why fine dining restaurants give you small portions. You know how you see on TV when they're doing like the Top Chef shows
Oh,
and they
yeah.
have those little portions on the big plate.
Yeah.
I now understand why. Because by the end of that meal, because they had the small portion, by the end of that meal, I was satisfied and full, but not too full and uncomfortable. Like, you know what I mean?
Right,
Like it was just perfect.
right,
It was just the perfect amount.
right.
Like I completely understand why those plates look like
So I'm not gonna be hungry and well, I'm not gonna
no,
be well,
miserable.
I love America. I love my country, but
Our portion
our
sizes are
portions,
ridiculous.
yes, it is.
Our portion sizes are
You go
ridiculous
out to
over
eat
here.
anywhere you go, and then I mean, going out to eat, it does cost a lot of money now. Now, I mean, the inflation is ridiculous.
Well, even the restaurant I work at, two people can easily blow $100.
Oh, yeah,
Easy.
right, like that.
Yeah.
Boom, and just, I mean, anywhere. Speaking of, I went to a burger joint here in the city. It's nationwide, and I love the place. And I haven't been there in a while, so I went there, and my God, I remember going there, and it cost me like probably maybe $15 with the tip. And last time I went there, I think I spent $30. I was like,
Just for you?
just for me.
You're talking about Five Guys.
Yes, I am. I'm
Yeah.
talking about five.
There were Five Guys over in London too.
Right. I mean,
Like
oh, they're
I'm
international. Wow.
I'm not a
Okay.
huge fan of Five Guys. It's just not my thing. If people like them, good for you.
Right.
But they are freaking expensive.
Right. And I'm not a big. I like hamburgers. Don't get me wrong, but when it comes to beef, I'm more of like a steak and a burger. I'm gonna go buy it at the grocery store, or I'll go to a meat market and buy it and cook it myself.
Oh, those meat
Because that's the
markets stuff is good.
yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's when you cook it yourself, you enjoy it more. You cook it just to your perfection.
Mhm.
I felt like a burger that day. Didn't feel like cooking. I hit Five Guys.
Yeah.
I'll spend $15. It's not that I'm broke. I got a good
Nope.
job and everything. It's just
Sir, your
holy
total is going to
shit.
be $32
Oh
and
my,
59
what?
cents.
What? It's like I didn't even get the shake. I didn't even get the shake. Come on, what the crap is going on here? Thanks for the fries, though. Oh my God, you get to order a small fry, and I
And
mean
it's just a bag
yeah,
full.
they just
It's ridiculous. It's a
So it's like
ridiculous.
okay, I'm Irish, so I love potatoes,
Mhm.
but the burger was good. But I added jalapeno. I didn't add another patty, bacon, and then they tack on for
Still, like the
everything.
bacon is like 350 alone.
Yeah,
Something ridiculous like that. It's
right,
like $3.50 to add bacon to your
right,
burger. Like, man, that cost you 12 cents.
right. It's like $3.50. I can go buy a package of bacon,
Really? Like, I
and
understand a 50-cent additional charge for things like
sure,
that. I get that.
sure,
But
and
like a ridiculous
you,
one.
and not only that, you pay 350 and they throw two pieces of bacon on there. It's like, come on, man. I mean, if you're gonna
At least
charge
give
me
me
that much,
three.
yeah, come on,
Give me three.
throw one on the side. What the hell? And you know, I can't do tomatoes anymore. It's not that I don't want to. It's just heard too many bad things about tomatoes. People getting sick
Oh, with the
because with the whatever they
yeah,
use to grow the tomatoes.
yeah.
So sorry, I use ketchup.
I love ketchup.
Oh, I love ketchup on
I
my
love
fries,
ketchup on a burger and fries,
but
dude.
being from up north or Chicago anyway, and if you put ketchup on your hot dog, that's like sacrilegious.
I put ketchup on my hot
Well,
dogs. On
okay. Well, I'm just saying.
I like
You,
ketchup and onions on my hot dogs.
okay, I like
I've
onion.
I've tried them different ways when I go places. The hot dogs that they make,
Right,
I'll try one the way they make it and
right.
everything. But if I'm making a hot dog, it's got ketchup and onions on it. That's it.
That's it.
That's
Okay.
it.
I mean, I can make you a Chicago dog one of these days. It's got okay, Chicago
Is that
dogs.
the one like with the pickles?
It's got the sport peppers. They're the little peppers.
Mhm.
They're called sport peppers, and they're not too sweet. They're like kind of like tiny pepperoncinis,
Yeah.
banana peppers, or what you want or whatever you want to call it. But a look just a little bit of a different flavor.
Yeah, I'll try
But
them for sure.
tomatoes, onion, of course. Some people use the white. I'm more of the red onion. I like the red onion. It's got a better flavor to my palate
Agreed.
anyway. And well, mustard, no ketchup,
That's all right.
and celery salt. And
Celery's good.
you gotta have the poppy seed bun. That's that's the whole. There's no different flavor to it. I mean, but there's one place here in the city where they make the good Chicago dog, but they're pricey now, of course. And um, that's
I've
at Cal's place.
Cal's.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
Cal's.
we've been to that place once or
Right.
twice.
I
Yeah.
mean, they used to be. Excuse me. They used to be over there off of Hefner and Rockwell, and
They're on Rockwell and Expressway next to Papa
yeah,
John's,
next
aren't
to
they?
Papa John's now.
Yeah.
But they were there for a little bit, and it was probably like I want to say 10 years ago.
Yeah, that was by that Dynamo Gymnastics
Yes,
place.
right
I
next
had
to the
been to them
Dynamo.
when they
Yeah.
were over there. Yeah.
Now I don't know what it is now. It became a Greek place
I was
after
gonna say,
that.
I think it's a Euro shop now.
Yeah,
Mediterranean stuff.
yeah. I don't know what it is. I think it's changed again.
I don't really drive that area anymore.
Right. Well, I drive past it all the time. But anyway, I don't ever watch because I'm driving. I'm not trying to look. Not looking around while I'm driving.
Sometimes I look around, I gaze around when I drive. So
But when it was over there, it was kind of hidden, and no one really knew where it was. I mean, you
it
drive
was.
by it, and you don't even know
It's
it's
not a
there.
good location for
Right.
a restaurant.
Right. And he disappeared. Well, when he was over there, I went in there one day just because Chicago eatery. Oh, they got the Italian beef.
Mhm.
Well, they got the combo, which is Italian beef and the Italian sausage on a bun together, and they dip it in the au jus, and then they put hot jardiniere on top of it, and you get fries. Well, I went there one time, and the owner was there. The owner was pretty much running the place. I mean, he wasn't cooking, but
It
he
was
was
still
running the
small.
register. He
Yeah.
was there. It was yeah, it was still small. And I asked him, I was like, "Where are you from?" And he's like, Oak Lawn, which happened to be the neighborhood right next to the neighborhood where I grew up in
Yeah.
Chicago Ridge. And I was like, "Oh my God, what's up?" I was like, "Really?" And I was like, "Why?" Being a South Sider, okay, when it comes to the Cubs and White Sox, Cubs is North Side.
Okay.
White Sox is South Side.
Okay.
He had a lot of Cubs stuff in his store, like decoration. It's like, where's your White Sox stuff?
So is that not congruent with the neighborhood that he said he came from
No,
then?
he's on the South Side.
So he should have been more
Well, he should have been,
yeah,
but
the way
you
y'all
you
see it.
got to understand the whole thing. Understanding is growing up here in Oklahoma. I mean, I've been here for 38 years now. I moved here just before I turned 10 years old. My
Before
dad,
that was in Chicago, though.
yeah, before that was in Chicago, and my dad was an AT&T engineer. The plant shut down in Chicago, and they gave him three different options, and we ended up him and my mom ended up choosing Oklahoma City because it was my grandparents were still alive at the time, and it was closer to home.
Your grandparents lived here?
No, my grandparents were in Chicago,
Oh, okay.
but the other two, there was the three out of the three, the other two were like Florida and like South Texas.
Oh, okay.
So
The furthest
the
away you
furthest
can be
away.
from
So
Chicago.
Oklahoma City was the closest. So
Okay.
that's why we chose Oklahoma City. And Oklahoma City's up and coming a
I
little bit.
I mean, my parents did the same thing when we moved. So I was born in Florida and moved around the states, 'cause military family, and then we lived in England, and then we lived in Germany. And when we came back from Germany, we moved back to the states, and they were given the options of here, I think Denver, and I think somewhere in California.
Hmm,
And they picked here because the cost of living
sure, sure.
was amazing
Oh
compared to
yeah,
the other two.
right. I
Um,
mean, the house that my parents sold in Oklahoma. I'm sorry, in Illinois. I mean, I think my dad paid in 1986 for it's a 4 bedroom, three bath. Excuse me. I think they paid 182,000 for it
In
in
1986.
1986 here in Oklahoma
Have
City.
you looked up what it would cost
Right
that actual
now, the
house?
value of the house with well, with the engineering that my dad did and all the trades that grandkids and kids are in, we totally redid the whole house. I mean, all the bathrooms have been refabbed. The house is, I mean, it's had wood floors, now it's got tile. As a matter of fact, my nephew is over at my parents' house right now redoing the staircase.
Wow.
Like right now.
He better be listening.
Well, he's working.
Hey, this is live. He can
Oh
listen to it.
well, I didn't tell him. He's not listening. He's
Good. He should be working.
yeah, exactly. Well, I'm not saying that. Sorry, Bob. Anyway, no. He came up.
I love you, Deneen. I love you
Yeah,
guys.
he came up. He lives down in Texas. He's a plumber down there, journeyman plumber.
Is this the one you went and worked with when you moved down there for a while?
Yes,
Okay.
him and my other nephew Kevin. But Kevin is
Don't get off the value of the house. What's the value?
oh the value. Oh, I'm so okay.
So 186,000 in 1986.
I'd say the value of the home right now is about $380,000.
Still,
And it's I mean, after everything we've done to it,
man.
it's probably more.
Yeah.
I mean, it's I don't know how Putnam City school districts are anymore. I mean, I'm sure they're better than Oklahoma
don't-
City,
I don't.
but like everybody's going towards Piedmont and Yukon
Mhm.
when it comes to the schooling because I guess it's better out there, or
Well,
even Deer Creek.
The city's becoming shitty, man.
Of course,
The
of course.
city's becoming shitty.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen the driving around here?
Oh my,
Which after coming, me and my wife were talking about this. After coming home from Europe, I kind of understand why the driving is becoming a little bit more aggressive. Because we have such an influx of immigrants over the past 5 years
sure,
and whatnot. So a lot of influx of people who come from countries where they drive in an aggressive manner. You know, here in America, we're all defensive driving. Go ahead, scoot over, blah blah blah. In London and England, while we were there,
yeah,
they cut people off. The
right.
bicyclists don't give a shit. There's two cars driving down the street together with a moped in between them,
Oh,
like
wow.
just cruising together. Like they drive very aggressively over there, and even at their because one of the things that we've really noticed here is people run red lights a lot now,
Here,
more often here.
yeah,
Here,
oh yeah,
like we've noticed it just driving down the street one day. We in 3 miles we saw a car run red light at least one or two times at each light that we
right.
were at, and they do that over there. It's just their aggressive style of driving. But you know what we didn't see over there was a bunch of fucking wrecks and a bunch of people driving down the street on their phones
Right,
because they have to pay attention,
right.
and they were really good at what they were doing. Like that night we went to that really nice restaurant in Paris. We were running a little bit behind. Luckily, we got a cabbie who did not give a shit. And he got us there like 10 minutes before our reservation.
Nice.
And it was because he was that type of aggressive
Right.
driver. Like he would shoot down a lane and then cut 6 cars off. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like it's just the way they drive there.
right. Do
Yeah.
they? Okay, here's a question. We did take uh cabs over there, of course, while we were in Ireland because we didn't have a vehicle.
Mhm.
But did they take tips? I don't remember tipping.
I gave all my cabbies tips.
Okay,
I gave
maybe
all
we
my
did
cabbies
too. I
tips.
just don't remember.
That's the only cabbie ride that we did not tip on was the one after we got back home to Dallas Fort Worth that drove us to our car. But that was because he fucked up and drove ended up getting off the highway and driving us through a neighborhood that was ridiculous.
Right.
But I gave all my cabbies tips.
Okay.
And they were all very happy to take it.
Right. Well, I think the only time we ever really used a cab was when we were in Dublin,
Hmm.
and once we got to trying to think of that second city where we went to. I mean, it's a Cork. Cork. That's what it was. Cork, Ireland.
That's way very far from Star.
Yes. very, very far from Star. Star. What the hell? Anyway, yeah, while we were in Cork and Killarney, I mean, we were within walking distance. You wanted to walk,
No, a
you
lot of stuff
wanted to
was, yeah,
see,
absolutely.
see everything, and yeah, Dublin. I think it's the only time we ever used a cab to get to the train station. Well, we did use a cab in Cork once because we wanted. That's where the Blarney Stone is. It's in Cork,
Hmm.
or right outside of it, and so we had to go kiss the Blarney Stone. And I did know this, and I'll tell everybody. Supposedly, the Irish over there, they piss on the Blarney Stone so the Americans can come over and kiss it. That's what I was told. That was from my uncle Joe. Told me that because my uncle Joe used to.
Kiss this, you fucking
Yeah,
Americans.
right, right. Yeah, how do you like the taste of my piss? Tastes like beer and whiskey. Uh, no, my uncle Joe, he did. He would take American travelers over there, and he was like a tourist kind of guy, tourist
Tour guide.
tour guide. There you go, got it. Uh, as a matter of fact, when my folks went out there years and years ago, my uncle Joe went with them. They rented a car. My uncle Joe, driving on it freaked me out driving on the opposite side of the road. It's
Yeah,
like I'm glad we didn't, and I'm
yeah.
glad we didn't
I
rent a
had no
car.
plans of trying to
No,
drive.
I'm not even gonna try. I don't want
Maybe if I
to.
was moving there for like 6 months to a year,
Yeah,
that
that's
gives you time
different.
to get used
Right,
to it.
that's
But
different.
just a
But
week, no,
I would
I'm
even
not.
even if I did that, I'd probably try to make everything within walking distance or riding a bike.
There were a lot of bicyclists.
Sure.
There were a lot of people. You'd see people in a business suit just riding their bike, going to work. Like I really like that.
Yeah, because you can cut corners, and I mean, I guess over there it's the same as the big cities in
Yeah,
America. You can't ride your bikes on the sidewalk. You have to ride on the street.
yeah. They in Paris. They had a bike lane. Most places in London, they just rode on the streets.
Right.
Rachel had been to New York to see her friend, and she said it reminded her a lot of the way New
Oh,
York
really?
was.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, I mean, growing up in Chicago, not really growing up. I did grow up in Chicago, but first 10 years,
First 10 years of your life are pretty formative years, man.
right? And I still have a lot of memories of Chicago. Well, not only that, every since my grandparents were still alive, every Christmas we would load up and drive to Chicago for Christmas break because my grandma Ryan, my mom's mom, my grandma Ryan, her birthday was Christmas Day.
Mhm.
So we go up there and we go by my grandma Deneen's. They weren't very. They were very. I want to say not classy, maybe a little snooty.
They were
They were.
they were like uppity.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Kind of
I
like
mean,
nose
yeah,
stuck up in the air,
yeah,
like we're
like,
better
hey,
than
hey,
you.
look, yeah, look at my new car, that kind of stuff.
They were materialistic.
Very, very materialistic. And I mean, I loved them, but they're all. I mean, I still have cousins, but my grandma, my aunt Doreen, my aunt Carol passed away. I don't want to say my aunt Carol passed away before we even moved to Oklahoma. So my grandpa Deneen definitely passed away before we moved here. My grandma Deneen almost made it to her 103rd birthday before she passed away. I mean, she was like, I want to say days away
Mhm.
from her 103rd birthday, and she passed. Then my aunt Doreen, she's gone. So my dad was the youngest. He had two older sisters, and my mom told me not too long ago. I never knew this, but going to church. I don't want to get religious. I'm not.
We might end up talking about religion. Go
Okay.
ahead, man. Talk
I
about whatever you
mean,
want.
my dad started going to church by himself. He never his parents never took him to church. They were my
He found
My
religion on his own, is
yes,
what you're
he
saying?
found religion on his own. I think it might have been a girl, but eh, anyway.
I've gone to church functions to flirt with girls when I was younger.
Sure. Oh, geez.
I
Yes.
I I went
Yes.
I went
Lock
to
in. I'm there.
yeah, I went to lock-ins because I thought a girl was cute that was gonna be there.
Right. And let's see. Yeah. Where was I going?
He found religion on his own.
He found
He was
religion on his own.
he had 2 older sisters.
Too. Yeah. And he joined the army straight out of high school. Did the engineering program. Spent time over in Germany before. I mean, he was in between right after the Korean War and right before the Vietnam War.
Okay.
So
He was in that nice spot,
yeah, he
right in
was in that
between
nice
wars.
spot. He just did. I
That
think I want to.
peacetime
Yeah,
spot.
I want to say he did 6 years and he spent a lot of time over in Germany. He tells a lot of stories about trading chocolate to the neighbor to the kids, and they would bring them beer and bread. And so they're out there doing uh
So this what decade was this in? Do you know? Was this
50s
50s?
50s, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense then
Mm.
because
Well, I mean,
a little different,
yeah,
much
50s.
different time back then.
Right, because my dad was born in 1940. So yeah, so like 58, 59,
60,
60,
early
yeah,
60s.
early
Yeah.
60s. Because yeah. And then he came back and my mom was invited to a wedding and he was there and that's where they met.
Was this in Chicago?
Yeah, of course. Of course. But my this is where I was going. My grandfather was from Ireland and my grandmother on my dad's side, my grandma Deneen, she was Austrian. She was from Austria. Beautiful woman, blonde, blue eyes, beautiful. So uh, when we when my great grandfather came to America, they went through New York and went straight to Chicago, and they changed the name. Our last name used to be O'Duinin, O hyphen Duinin, and because of the whole Irish thing, they didn't want to give Irish jobs. They're that kind of shit was going on
There was
here.
prejudice against Irish people back
Very
then whenever
much,
they came
very much,
across.
because they're coming here to live the American dream,
Mhm. Work hard
work
and
hard, and
raise a family.
raise a family. That exactly. And so my great grandfather, his name was Preston Deneen. Well, he changed it to Dineen, and then my grandfather changed it to Deneen.
Isn't it amazing how easy it was back then to just change your
Oh
name?
yeah,
Like you literally just write it differently
right,
on a document and
and
then that's your name.
that's your name. That quick. I mean,
That's what a lot of immigrants did. A
right,
lot of immigrants, whenever they came to this country, they immediately changed their names to be seem more American
right.
sounding.
Well, I mean,
I think it was to avoid prejudices
oh, of course.
because I
Well, I
mean,
mean, not only that, people were given names. You've seen the Godfather series, and when the Godfather 2, when he comes in as a kid and he doesn't speak any English, of course, they named him after. They gave him the Corleone. That was the name of the town where he
mhm,
came from in Italy. That wasn't his real name.
yeah,
So there's like, oh, you're
you
from
need
yeah,
something though on this
yeah,
document.
uh, Vincent Corleone. There you go. That's your American name. Move along.
And a lot of
Mhm.
people who came over in that time didn't know how to read or write either.
Oh
So
no.
there's another reason they
Right.
just here you go. This is your name now.
Right.
Welcome to America.
Right. And now there was a lot of Irish that came into New York, and that's when the Civil War was going on. And they were like, "You want to live in this country? You're going to fight for this country." And I mean, they're coming off the boat, signing
And getting
and
uniforms.
getting uniforms and going straight to war. And a lot of them didn't have a chance to ever become live the American dream because they died for a country that didn't even know anything about. They did
So
speak English over there,
it
but
was your grandparents that came over, or great
great
grand?
great grandparents.
So when they came over, did they have to deal with anything like that since it was
No,
around that time,
well,
or did they come into New York and then was able to go to Chicago and
they
start
got the
building
hell
their
out of
life?
Chicago. They got off the boat and they knew what was up. They
Like
went straight
duck
to,
out over here?
yeah, I'm going to Chicago.
No, for sure.
Yeah, I believe because my great grandfather and my great grandfather's brother, they came over together at the same time, and they got split up. And I want to say his brother went down south, went like towards Florida, like the Carolinas or something like that,
Okay.
and he went over to Chicago. Preston did, and I want to say it wasn't even. I don't even say his name was Preston at first. I think he changed his name to Preston.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, my dad's got all the history on it and everything like that. I mean, we got the family shield hanging up in the living room at the house. We got
Is it a
the.
real shield or like a replica,
It's a replica.
like
It's just a
painting and
little
drawing?
thing. It's
Oh,
it's
okay.
it's metal and everything,
Yeah.
but it's like this big. It's not like
Yeah.
ah, you know.
And you
nothing
never
like
know.
that.
Never
Oh
know.
yeah,
That's why I
that
asked.
would be cool.
That would be
It
awesome.
would be way awesome. But
But it's cool to not like have your family crest up there.
oh yeah,
Like
I
that's pretty
mean,
cool.
kept up
I
on
could
the
look up like
history.
Deneen. I have no idea what
My
it is.
on my parents' side, my grandma and grandpa Ryan, I believe they moved to Chicago from Ireland, both of them, and then they met in Chicago,
Okay.
and then they moved on to live their life. It's either that or they. I don't think they met in Ireland because I'm sure they were from different parts of Ireland.
Yeah.
But I mean, everybody else other than my grandma Deneen were all Irish and Irish Catholic.
I was gonna say, I assume since you grew up Irish that Catholicism was
Sure.
prominent in your upbringing.
Oh yeah.
Like, how did that mold you? Like, you said your dad found religion later. Like, was it
No, my dad found religion when he was a kid.
okay?
He would get up on Sunday mornings and like walk to church and
Oh,
stuff like
okay. I
that.
was
He
thinking
found it,
different.
he found it himself
Mhm.
because his parents and everything they weren't. I don't know if they were religious. I just think my grandfather was a carpenter and he was busy. He was working. He was taking care of his family.
Sundays versus the day
Sundays
off.
wasn't a day off.
He
There
didn't.
wasn't a day off.
Yeah.
He worked. He was always working. And my grandmother was, I don't, she was, I want to say she was a hairstylist because both, well, my Aunt Carol ended up having a hair salon at her home and she lived in the same neighborhood as us because I used to walk over there and hang out while she was doing people's hair and she would feed me cookies and stuff like
That's why
that.
you were there.
Hell yeah,
There for the
cookies and
cookies.
milk, man. And well, I used to walk her dog and everything because she'd be busy, cutting hair and whatever. And she had a little dog named Nellie. And I remember Nellie, and I used to walk her dog and stuff like that. And she had a pool. She actually had a pool before we did. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe she got a pool after we did. In Chicago, we had a above ground pool in the backyard, and
Above ground swimming pool.
oh yeah, man, my dad
Did it have
built
a
it.
deck built around
My
it?
dad, but only on one side of it because
That's better than no deck.
right, we had my dad built it, of course, and my dad actually got in trouble from my mom one 4th of July because in Chicago it's I don't know if you've ever been to Mustang during 4th of July. It's
Not
it's
during 4th of July.
it's mayhem. I mean,
Everybody's shooting off
everybody's
fireworks.
shooting off fireworks. It's just until and that's how it was growing up in Chicago Ridge. It was just you know blow it up. And we used to always have because we had the pool. It was either well, my uncle Jerry had a pool too, but I think he was Memorial Day. I think he was Memorial Day. We go over to Uncle Jerry's for Memorial Day weekend, and the 4th of July was at the Deneen house. And the reason why is because my brother Bob, who you had on here, his birthday's 4th of July.
Okay.
So we had it at our house. But I think because of that reason. And my dad got in trouble with my mom because the garage was separate from the home in
Okay.
Illinois. That freaked me out when I moved here because the garage was connected to the house. I was like, what if something starts on fire in the garage? That's the first thing. I mean, pulling up to the house for the first time here in Oklahoma,
And you see a garage
we
connected.
connected. Not only that, there's no fucking sidewalks. And in Chicago, we had sidewalks, and my mom would not allow us to ride our bikes on the street. We had to ride our bikes on the sidewalk. Where the hell am I going to ride my bike? You know, where the hell am I going to ride my bike? What if something starts fire in the garage? Well, anyway, back to Chicago. My dad got in trouble and a couple of my uncles because they were jumping off the roof of the garage into the pool. And yeah, I
Sounds
mean,
like something I would do.
yeah, oh,
If the roof is close
definitely,
enough.
yeah. Oh, it was right there. I mean, literally, excuse me. There was no gutters on the garage, so literally when it rained,
It
the
helped
water
fill the pool.
it would go into the pool. Right. It was that close. I mean, it was right there. But still, it was the reason why is because the pool was only 4 foot deep, and they're jumping off the garage, which wasn't like
Yeah.
2 stories, but still.
You could hurt yourself.
Oh, definitely, especially because back
A
then,
little drink and drink here.
my dad liked to partake. He did drink, yes, he did. He does not anymore because well, he's 84, and doctor said
No.
no. Every once in a while, he'll have like Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever. He'll have a couple Guinnesses, just for St. Patrick's Day, definitely. I mean, he'll have a couple beers, but that's it.
Yeah.
Maybe a glass of wine, but definitely a couple beers. The glass of wine would be for dinner with dinner. My mom, my mom told me, she's been telling me this forever, that she cannot get drunk. She can drink a lot and never catch a buzz. And I was like, there's no way. And then I don't know if that's actually true, but you know how it was growing up, and there's these girls. I'm not drunk. Come on,
You're
I think
drunk
she
as shit,
was.
lady.
That's like I think she was. She was just a responsible drunk. It's like you got a buzz, but you're being responsible about it.
You're still a lady.
Right? Exactly. Classy, classy.
Hmm.
But well, my mom's classy. Yeah.
Your mom's got to be classy.
Oh, she is
Wait,
classy.
how many of you are there?
There's nine.
There's
Nine
nine
kids.
of you, Deneen. So I know three of you personally, and I can't imagine raising the three of you. Like, she has got to be a classy lady.
I believe she's a saint. She's an angel. She just don't have her wings. She's. I mean, the things she does. I'll give example. I have a buddy that had knee surgery, and he's an older fella, and I play darts with him a lot. And I told him I told my mom about, hey, so and so's going in, and he's having knee surgery. Blah blah blah. She's like, well, let me know because, well, I'll just make him a plate of dinner every night. And you could, because the guy lives literally right across the street from the neighborhood. And he's like, see, I'll cook him dinner so he doesn't have to get up and around. And I was like, okay, I'll let him know. And at first he was like, well, that's really nice, blah, blah, blah. And I mean, this fella, his dad's gone. Like I said, he's older than me. Uh, his mom is in assisted living, and he's got a brother that lives in Norman, that lives in his parents' old house. And I believe he's got another house out there that he rents to like one of his nephews. And uh I don't want to say his last Thanksgiving, might have been the Thanksgiving before. And he just had nothing to do. And he would just sit up at the bar and eat up there, and we just throw darts. That's our pastime. Shit, I'll probably go up there tonight. But
Still, that's bar food. That's not good home cooked
Yeah,
food,
yeah,
man.
that's not and his deal is, I'm like, "Man, that does," and he's like, "I got a pill for that." And I mean, it's always like, "I got a pill for that. I got a pill for that." It's like, Jesus, man. All right. And it's a funny thing. It's not a bad
Yeah.
thing. It's
But your
he's
mom made him meals?
well, made him meals, yeah, for I want to say a couple weeks. I was bringing him dinner every day, and he's so thankful for it. But there was before he had the knee surgery. Uh, I invited him over for hey, you're right down the street. You're not doing anything for Thanksgiving. Come by the house. We'll feed you. And ever since then, it's just became really good friends.
Mhm.
Really good friends now. He's a really cool guy. Not only that, he used to be an investment broker. So I just started this new job. I started my retirement. I'm gonna get insurance and everything. Started getting paid more, and I'm gonna just say, hey,
Invest my money.
yeah,
That's
here's $2,000. Do what you can for me
mhm,
and make some money on the side, and then that's how I'll start buying my
passive
well,
income.
right, and that's how I'll start buying my equipment for the plumbing,
Mhm.
and boom, boom,
Little
boom.
by little, man.
Right, and then eventually,
Then
I'll
you have
have
a
a
truck.
trailer, I'll
Oh,
have a
yeah.
truck. Well, I already have a truck, but I want to get rid of that thing.
Yeah.
It's
No, I mean, like, an actual plumbing truck. Like,
right
they pull up
with
a
the
site.
rack and
Yeah.
everything. Right,
All your equipment
right.
inside, everything. Yeah.
Then I'll just get a little. I'll get a storage or whatever, and that's where I'll park it and lock it up.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's the plan.
That's good, man. I'm glad you have something like
Well,
that.
I mean, you know me. I've had girlfriends, of course. Never been married, no kids. So I mean, it's easy for me to just say, "Hey, let's go." I mean, I've lived in Oklahoma, Texas, Seattle, and California, and Chicago, of course. But I was a kid then, so that wasn't really, you know, my preference. I
Yeah.
didn't choose to be
Yeah.
there. I was born there.
Yeah.
But love love all the sports teams. God, that's what's weird about my brother Bob. He's not big into sports,
No, he's not.
not at all. And funny thing is, he's been drawing since I can remember. And we used to have this big kitchen table, of course, because all the kids,
Mhm.
and my dad built it, of course, and it had wheels. Well, there was like an L-shaped bench. That was for all of us kids. And there was two chairs that sat on the outside, and that was for my mom and dad, of course. And then there was that little space in between for the baby, the high chair, you know, feed the baby, blah blah blah. Anyway, I can remember sitting on the bench, and not while we're eating or whatever, just during summer or whatever, and my brother Bob on the other one of my either my mom's chair or my dad's chair drawing, and I was always push the table. Quit. He'd be drawing, and I just because the table had wheels, and it's kind of like pay attention to me. I'm
Damn
bored.
it, Brian, leave
Let's
me
do
alone.
yeah. What the hell, man?
I'm gonna be a tattoo artist someday.
No. Uh, he's always been a good artist. I mean,
Nice man. I think he's honestly, I've seen a lot of the work that he's done over the years, man. He does beautiful work.
right.
I'd say he's arguably one of the best tattoo artists in our city.
Well, I agree with that. I mean,
I'm
it
not
comes
saying the best, but one
right,
of
right, one of
absolutely.
definitely. And I mean, the whole thing with him, Josh and Carissa, they're partners
Hmm.
in at Mindbender. It's an art gallery.
That's what I'm saying. Like
They don't just
that's what I love about your brother Bob is his passion for the art.
right.
Like, and he described it when he was on here, like he thinks about that in the tattoos that he's giving to people too. He's like, these are
This
works
is
of art.
my
This
this
is
is
like,
my I want
and that's what I love
right,
about that
right,
particular parlor is all the artists there are like that.
right,
They're artists first.
right.
and they just happen to
Right,
be do tattoos. That's their job is
right,
tattooing people, but they're artists.
right. They're not, hey, kid, there's a lot of tattoo, and I understand. A lot of tattoo shops here in the city, like Friday the 13th, they'll do like the 13 or Friday the 13th or the little, and that's cool. But I don't want something small like that on me. I've got four tattoos. I got this, I got one here, and I got one here.
Did Bob do them all?
Bob did the three of them. He did this sleeve, and well, it needs to be finished up, but
Still
we'll
a
get to
sleeve.
that. Yeah, it's still a sleeve. Josh did this.
Josh Reynolds.
Yeah, Josh Reynolds did this when they were still over at Cannibal.
Okay,
This is almost 20 years old.
and it still looks
It's still,
fabulous.
yeah, it still pops.
That's what I'm saying. Like this is almost 20 years old, or almost 20 years old now. And look at the color of the
Yeah,
flowers on it. Like,
right. I mean, Bob doesn't like me showing this one because this is when he was starting with the tattooing.
so he was basically an apprentice.
Sure. Well,
Time. That's
right.
the beginning.
I mean, it wasn't forced on him. He wanted to do it. He just didn't have the money for it. I mean, he had friends help him out with
Mhm.
things.
I think you
And
described the starting of the process.
right,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Sean's name came up. Sean and Curtis.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, they had a band, they had a practice house. Two of the guys in the band lived there. They had this little storage space up above the jam room, and they took all the things out. I mean, completely because of all the trades and everything that everybody's in our lives.
Construction trades.
Right. Yeah, construction, you know, and they totally rebuilt that upstairs, painted, made it all nice to where they can clean it really well. And that's where Bob started. I mean,
And that's the beginning of the end there, man.
yeah, that's where it started. And
Now you've got a
he,
shop on Tulsa and 39th
right.
Street.
Well, he opened that first shop with Cannibal
Yeah, but
with Curtis.
mhm, I
And
remember that. That's when I met him.
right,
He did a half sleeve flower piece on my girlfriend at the time,
okay,
and I mean, there's a bunch of different flowers on her. Beautiful work.
right on.
But that's when I met him,
With my brother?
Bob.
Oh, Bob, okay.
That's when I met Bob.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was great. I mean, I was still delivering liquor at that point in time, and I was working for a company out of Tulsa, and I was on salary. So there were Monday through Thursday, I would start my route. Well, we drive our trucks up to I-30, 122nd and I-35. There's a truck stop up there, and they would bring everything down on 18 wheelers,
Hmm.
and we'd load all of our trucks of the product off the 18 wheeler, and then by the time we're done with that, it's probably like 6:30, and I would go back to the house and burn a bowl, smoke a bowl,
Yeah.
and get high, and then start my route at like 7 o'clock. And like I said, Fridays were always busy because
Stocking
they're
up for the
stocking up for
weekend.
the weekend. But Monday through Thursday, I would be done 1 o'clock at the latest. They nobody had any special time of delivery.
Hmm.
You were just
So you
you
just
were you were
deliver
on the
when
route.
you're
Yeah,
done, you're
when you're
done.
done, you're done. And we got to drive our trucks home. So I'd be home at 1 o'clock, and Bob and Curtis at the time, they really didn't have a lot of apprentices. And I didn't want to be an apprentice. I'm not an artist. I'm hands-on tool.
Hmm.
I'm a blue collar guy. Always have been. I want to work. I want to move. I don't want to I can't sit
Hmm.
too long. I'm doing this. I can because
Yeah.
we're bullshitting. I can sit at the bar a lot too. But anyway, and I do. But I would go in there, and that's when they were still using the needles and the autoclave and everything like that. And I would go in and clean the booths and clean the shop and do the autoclave, clean all that stuff up for them. Me and actually George.
Would that pay for the work that your brother would do
No, this
on
gets
you?
done for free because I'm fan.
Family.
Right. But you know, I don't really hound on them about it. I mean, I'll go in probably every 3 years to
Yeah.
get something done. You know,
Well, I do know that no tattoo artist likes being hounded
oh
for
no,
free work, even if
well,
it is family members.
right,
You know what I mean?
and that's
Because
why I don't hound them. Honestly, every once in a while I was like, you know
well,
what,
people
I
who
might.
expect the free work are usually dicks.
Right,
You know,
right,
like
yeah,
I never expect free work.
no,
Never.
no.
I always take some money with me.
Right.
And
Well, I do, dude. My brother will. I'll sit in his chair for 2, 3 hours, and he doesn't expect anything out of it.
no,
But I
absolutely.
still throw him $200. Like, here you go,
Exactly.
man. For your time, for your setup, anything.
That,
And he doesn't expect it, but I still do.
that's why when people ask me how much I pay for my tattoo work, I'm like, that doesn't
Right.
I can't explain that to you because it doesn't matter. I'm really good friends with the tattoo artist. It's a different thing.
Right.
Like they charge $140 an hour.
Right.
That's what you're gonna pay.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know?
You're not going to sit in his chair for under $200 now.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
No, I think he's saying his rate is 140. That's all the artists at Mindbender. I think
Oh yeah, yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
believe that's what he
I'm just
said.
saying there's artists out
Yeah.
there that are like that.
Yeah, no,
You're not going to
absolutely.
sit in my chair for under $200 an hour,
Yeah.
and that's fine. Hey, if it's
Hey,
good work, that's
if
what you pay,
if you can charge that and people will pay that, good for you, buddy.
right?
Good for you.
And they would do, yeah. And people will keep coming back. I mean, I'm sure my brother Bob has got customers that he's
Oh, he's
full body. I mean, go working on full body for
every
'em.
time I'm there getting work done, he's always working.
Right. And that's usually how I get in is I'll come in, I'll have a day where I'm not doing anything or whatever and not real busy. And my brother Bob's busy. I mean,
No, he
I
stays
don't
pretty busy.
right.
He likes
I don't need if I need to get a hold of him, I don't even call his phone. I'll either call the shop or I'll call his wife.
yeah.
And his wife is usually at the shop. So when I call, she answers the phone. God, I love Rizzo. She's so awesome.
I love her too, man. She is
Uh
awesome.
But and then I'll just stop in, and that's usually when I'll book something.
Mhm.
I'll stop in and I'll bullshit while he's working.
Hey, I got
And
some open time.
yeah, hey man, it's usually he started. Hey, when do you want to work on that, or something like that. It's like schedule me, man. And I'll be here. And there's been a couple times where he's like, sorry, man. Schedule
We're gonna
conflict,
reschedule you. Yeah.
right? And cool,
Cool.
whatever.
Mhm.
I'll see if I'm good for it. Usually on the weekends, I'm good for it. During the week, I really don't want it during the week. I'm a plumber.
Yeah. That's your
I
one time.
don't want to get anything on my. I'm not going to tattoo anything on my hands because
It's
you
covered in
can look
shit
at
a lot.
well, not only that. I mean, I
Mhm.
get cuts and stuff all, and then I'll scar up tattoos. So
I
I
was
think risk above.
when I was working in plumbing, I got some spots here on my hand. You can
Right.
see there are little spots that are missing, and it's from little things like that.
Right. I
You know.
mean, even this right here, this is my brother Bob. I mean, all these little white spots. When I was working down in Texas, I don't know if it was poison ivy or poison oak or something, but I got an infection
Mhm.
on my arm, and all these little white things started popping up, and it hurt. The white thing, and then I went to urgent care. They gave me antibiotics, but my got you know, I like to next thing you know, they're scabs, and I'm
Yep.
taking them, and there went the ink.
Mhm.
But I mean, he wants to do something with this. I mean, this is a dragon. I was born in a year of the dragon. That's why I got it. And this was cannibal, and he drew this up when before he actually this dragon was part of his portfolio as an apprentice,
Mhm.
and he was going to get rid of it. Like, "Ah, I don't like that so much." I was like, "Put it on me." I was born the year of the dragon. Put it on me. He was like, "Okay." So we went with that. Um, and then the crystal ball. That's a dragon hand. Of course, there's a dragon. So this is my dragon arm,
Mhm.
and then this was something that I just drew up. I mean, it didn't look like this, of course.
Yeah.
And
Josh
yeah,
made
Josh.
it a little bit
Yeah,
better.
yeah, he did. And I was like, "No, this is my birthstone. Future's always in the hash marks. Love music, so I'm surrounded by music, and skulls are just cool." So that's why I went with that. And then this is a shamrock ripping out of my arm.
Is
You
that the
know,
Irish flag behind the shamrock?
no, that is there's 9 shamrocks around it for
Oh,
all my
okay.
brothers and sisters. It's just
Yeah,
yeah, just colorful.
a family
This
company.
was this was all done before it was legal in Oklahoma. And that's why my brother Bob was like, "Don't show that one on." You know,
In your
but
face.
yeah, he's like, don't show that one off. You know, it kind of looks like crap. You know,
You
that
can
was.
always touch it
And
up.
I
He's
was,
the
I was
artist.
like, yeah, yeah, you know, but that's the thing. He can touch it up. He can, and that's probably what I'll do next time I'll go. And hey, man, just do what you want to do over here.
Oh man,
Just don't no unicorns,
no unicorns.
or
Well,
no
now that you
no
said that,
dicks.
he's gonna put a
Right.
unicorn on you.
Yeah. Or draw a big dick with balls.
I could totally that picking up for you pushing all the tables.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He's gonna draw a dick on
You know
you.
what? He probably doesn't remember that shit,
He
but
does
now he
now.
will. Now
He
he
does
will.
now. He's oh yeah. Now you're gonna end up with a dick on your arm.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got my ass beat for that. But
He's older, right?
yeah, Bob is 4
Where
years
where
old.
are you in the 9?
I'm 7.
You're 7.
Yeah, Bob is 5. He's the
Bill is the baby.
no, but John is the baby.
John
It
John.
was me, Bill, and then John. The
Okay.
3 or the 3 youngest.
Mhm.
Um, Kathy's number 1, and then Margaret.
Man, I bet you she's a tough one. Kathy.
She's I love her. That's all I'm gonna
She's
say.
a tough big sister.
She's she can be a hassle sometimes. And but that's just the way she is.
Uh-huh.
And everything comes out well. And
And
she
she's
means
Irish.
well.
So
Well, yeah. She spent out of all of us when we moved to here to Oklahoma, my sister Kathy was already established in Chicago.
Mm.
She didn't move here with us. She stayed.
she was like in her early
Oh
20s.
yeah,
Kinda.
yeah. She was married, 2 kids. You know, she stayed. She stayed in Chicago.
Still there, I assume.
No, she's actually in Bartlesville. She moved down to Texas for a while, for a couple decades, and then now her and my sister Margaret just bought a house in Bartlesville, and that's actually where my parents are right now, with my nephew who's working on the steps. Great grand his 2 kids who are my sister's grandchildren and my parents' great grandchildren.
Wow.
So they're my dead parents left out here last Wednesday, and they'll be back tomorrow. Um,
Safe travels to them.
oh yeah, 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 yeah. Hopefully not too much rain, but it's not that far of a trip. But still, safe travels.
Yeah.
Make it home safe, please. You know, Kathy Margaret was also established in Chicago before we moved here. She had a boyfriend at the time, and they were together for a while. I want to say they were almost engaged, but then that ended up not working out, and then she met George. Excuse me. She met George, and she had 2 kids, 2 girls with him, and they ended up getting divorced. And then she married uh, the Italian guy. I forget his name.
I don't know his name.
She
He's
had
the
a
Italian
well,
guy.
she had a kid with him, Dominic, and he's one of my godsons. And yeah, that's it. And then she married Cliff, and he passed away, and then she didn't remarry. And Dominic is actually still up in Indiana, and she ended up moving down here, and because my niece Anne Marie has been living here for a while. Her husband works for Frito Lay. She works at the pharmacy in Mercy Hospital,
Mhm.
and they have 2 children together. So my sister Margaret at first was staying with them and kind of taking care of the kids while they worked and stuff like that. And now she still does that, but my sister Kathy got divorced and then bought a house in Bartlesville, and my sister Margaret moved in with her. And I hope everything goes well because those two over the years they butted heads bad. I mean, growing
So
up,
they're the two oldest.
yes,
So it was Kathy, then Margaret.
yeah,
Okay, I can imagine how
right,
two
right.
female
And not only
Deneens
that, I
would butt
mean,
heads.
they were polar opposites.
Mhm.
I mean, Kathy was go hard or go home, and Margaret was I'm gonna hide over here, and
I'll come out when it's done. Kind of
right,
thing.
right, yeah, that kind of stuff. And Margaret, she worked hard through her life, but I don't know. I call her spaz,
Hmm.
but I love her. I love all. We all get along.
Yeah.
Not all the time. Things happen here and there. Someone will say something and someone will get butt hurt, and the next thing you know, it's
I'm not talking to you.
yeah, not even that. It's more like "Hey, you go to hell.
Yeah.
Fuck you. You're a piece of shit." Blah, 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 and they start eating into each other about things in the past and stuff like. And it's like, settle down, settle
You
down.
remember when we were 13?
Right, and then a year later, everything's good. But yeah. Then there's Beth. Beth lives here in Oklahoma City. She actually works not with my brother Bill, but she does work for Paycom. She
Okay.
works in a custodian kind of deal. Um, let's see. My brother Mike is in Chicago now. Uh, he's in way north suburbs, Homer Glen, which is really nice neighborhood atmosphere. He's got two boys from his first marriage. They're grown, and he's got two boys from his second marriage, and he's still raising them, and he's raising them in Chicago. Uh, well, his second wife was from Chicago, and yeah, he's raising his boys, and he's divorced his second wife, but I don't think he's seen anybody. I don't know, but he's just raising his boys right now. And then there's Bob, and about Bob. And Susan, she's here in Oklahoma City. She has a son named Travis, who's another one of my godsons. He's autistic. I don't want to say not major autistic, but
Is
just like
is
little
is he
things.
the type of autism that like yes, he's on the spectrum, but he's still very smart with specific things?
Yes.
Or is
Well,
he
he's very
a
smart with
non-functioning?
no, he's functioning
Okay.
for sure. He's really smart when it comes to books and stuff like that. I mean, he absorbs it. But when it comes to other things, it's not that he's slow.
Like the social aspect of
Oh
life.
yeah, no, no,
Yeah.
no. He's not a very good communication talking to people. I mean, he won't look you in the eye, and he'll talk to us, of course, but it's always about sometimes he don't make sense. His words get bumbled up and whatever. But writing it down on paper and stuff like that, and the books and everything. I mean,
Genius.
well, not genius, but smart enough. Definitely B plus. B plus. Great. You know, good at that. But then there's me. I've been all over the damn place.
Yeah, you were saying you lived in 4 different states.
Right. I want to say it's 2002, maybe 2003. I was running around with pretty much a lot of the bands here in the city. Just, I mean, original. Well, they played covers too, but I was really into the bands and live music. I
Main
loved
scene.
it, man. I loved it. I love live music. I still do, but I just don't have
Where
time.
where would you go?
Well,
Like what? Like
there
Blue
was
Note, shit like that?
well, yeah, the Blue Note, yeah. But not as I didn't frequent the Blue Note very much
Or are you
back then.
talking about venues?
Yeah, well, no, not venues. Mostly bars.
Okay.
I mean, there used to be the Samurai. It was over there off of Main Grand, and they had live bands every night. Most of the time, Monday through Thursday, the bands were just horrible. But on Friday and Saturday night, they usually had a really good band in there, and they would pack the house. It was fun. Then there was the Boar's Head. That's actually where I met or not Chris Rock, Kid Rock, who I'm not a big fan of, but that's right before his big.
Before he got huge.
Yeah, he played there with Buck Cherry,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, "Who is this guy?" And I mean, I kind of dug on it, and I was like,
He has a song that says, "My name is Kid Rock."
yeah, yeah." And that's the song that the bow,
Yeah,
whatever.
Bow with the
That
Bow.
was the song that he was singing at that time. And I was like, man, that's kind of catchy, it's kind of cool. And I actually got to meet him, and eh, I was like, hey, nice to meet you. Great set. That was about it.
Yeah.
And 3 months later, his song's on the radio. I was like, oh, wow, okay, way to go, dude. No, I'm not such a big fan. It's like, your music, it's not my style, not my
No,
style of music. Um,
Kid Rock's not really my flavor either.
right.
I mean, it's mainstream and somebody likes it.
Oh,
So,
definitely. I mean, it's like
like, I
It's
mean,
like Nickelback.
yeah,
But
somebody likes it.
they're platinum
Yeah,
selling
people buy
records.
their albums.
Yeah, I mean, they
That's
sell out stadiums.
so.
You know,
My whole life, I've always heard people talk about how music sucks, and I've just always had this philosophy: there's no such thing as bad music
yeah,
because they're making it for a reason. Somebody's listening to it.
mhm,
Maybe it's not your thing, but somebody likes it.
right,
Just because you don't like it doesn't make it bad.
right.
You
And
know what I
then
mean?
there's a lot of times we'll be sitting at the bar and someone will play a song, and it's not a song that I like, and it's like it might be some hate's a strong word, but it's close. It's really close. I really don't like this song. But then I think it's like, you know what? It's going to be 3 minutes and it's going to be over.
Mhm.
And the next song might be great. The next song might suck. Well, deal with it for another 3 minutes. No, people pay money to
Yeah,
to
they
play
want to
their
hear their
music. They
song.
want to hear their songs, and you know that's it. If you don't like it, get your ass up to the jukebox and
Play some
play a
music.
song.
Yeah.
Put some money towards it. It's kind of like karaoke. I do karaoke. I love karaoke, but uh, a lot of people get up there and they really can't sing.
That's most people who do
Right.
karaoke,
They,
dude.
they really can't sing.
Not
And
everybody's Cece.
right. Oh no. She's oh my god.
No, Cece's got an amazing
Yeah,
voice, and when she
she's
sings karaoke, I just
beyond.
sit back
Yeah.
and enjoy.
Right. It's like
But
I don't know this song. I might hate this song, but Cece's singing it and it's beautiful. But a lot of people are like, oh man, they really suck. And it's like, well, why don't you go sign up and see if you can do better?
yeah,
At
come
least
on,
they got,
Frank
yeah,
Sinatra,
it's
get
like,
up
yeah,
there.
at least they got the guts to sign up and actually, they might sound great in the shower to themselves. They might sound great in the car to
That's what
themselves.
I tell everybody. It's
Right.
like I sound good in the shower, in the car with the volume turned all the way up. I
Right.
sound just like them.
And that's the whole thing about karaoke. I mean, I can I've always been a music is big in my life. I mean, not that it got me through things, not that I've had bad times in my life, but music is just
Mu-
fun,
music, music lets you know you're not alone, man.
Right. And there's the
Because somebody is
emotion.
singing the emotion
Right.
that you feel.
Right. It's
It lets you know you're not alone, dude.
right. I mean, there's times where song come on and I would get like super not like cry, but like, I'll get the sniffles. It's like, man, this song is really touching. And then there's other people like this song sucks. And it's like, yeah, well,
That's
that's you.
my favorite thing. The lead singer, I think it was Mudvayne. the lead singer of Mudvayne was being interviewed about a song, and the interviewer asked what he was thinking when he wrote this song, like what is this song about? And he wouldn't answer the question because he said that the people listening to the song might mean something different to them.
Right.
And if I now explain that to you, that ruins it for that
Right.
person.
Right.
You know, it
That
means
emotion
something to
might
me.
totally change
Yeah,
that
it
person.
means something
Right.
special to that person, and I don't want to ruin that for that person.
Right.
I thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
I thought that was so
That's
amazing.
a great answer.
Yeah,
Great
best
answer.
answer I ever heard.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's how it is. It means something different to everybody who listens to it.
Right. It's like the Foo Fighters song Everlong.
Uh huh.
You know, for years and years and years and years and years, no one knew what that song was about. I mean, you see the video and it's like, they're all dressed up as women and, big hands and slapping each other around. I don't know. No one knows what the hell's
Yeah.
going on. Well, eventually Dave Grohl did come out and say it was about the one of the girls in what's the name of the band? I want to say Veruca Salt. Like Nirvana and Veruca Salt were, I think, playing with each other, doing tours, not tours, but like festivals and
Mhm.
stuff like that. And this is really as Dave was just starting with Nirvana, and because the Bleach album, that's not Dave, that's a different drummer.
Okay.
And then Nevermind,
Never mind.
that's
Yeah.
Dave. And of course, that's when they blew up and they started. Well, before Nevermind came out, they were doing tours with,
Farouk Salt.
well, Veruca Salt and other bands. They were doing festivals,
Okay.
and pretty much it was the management for Nirvana was finding out, can Dave do this? And of course, we all know
Obviously.
the
Yeah.
outcome of it.
Yeah.
The dude is
Amazing
fucking amazing.
musician.
You know, Foo Fighters, holy shit. Another story,
Wait, but the song Everlong.
Everlong,
The
is
me.
about this one of the girls in Veruca Salt.
Okay.
And for years and years and years, Dave never said anything like that in any of the interviews. And he almost, not in the same way as the guy from Mudvayne, but when he was asked about, that's the kind of answer he would give.
Yeah.
Like, I can't tell you. It's not that I don't want to. It's like, because it will change the emotion of, because not many people, some people, growing up, my younger brothers can, like, they know every word to every fucking song. I mean, sing right along with it. I'm talking like my brother Bill will play a Lamb of God song. Excuse me. I love Lamb of God, but I like the guitars. I like the drums. I like the, this, and I don't really pay attention to the lyrics. I just like the sound. It's it's motivation. But my brother Bill will sit there next to me at the bar, like he'll play a song and he'll sing every word to it. He'll be, and I'm just like, just listen to it for the music, but
See, I'm the opposite. I listen to for the words.
right.
I love the poetry in music.
But I can
You
do
know
it
what I
with
mean?
slower music. I can't do it with the heavy stuff. Like Metallica, I can do with that.
I'm not huge into heavy death metal.
Right.
That's not really the screaming and stuff. That's not really mine. I do like a little bit of it in
Right.
my rock songs, but it's
Right.
not like I'm not a big huge fan of Lamb of God,
But
things like that.
as a Deneen, growing up, well, of course, we went to church every Sunday, and I was used to critique the singers at church.
You did?
Yeah, my mom would sit next to me and be like, "Stop it," because I'm like, "Oh, that's horrible. Why can't he hit that note?" It's like, oh, and that's where I found it's all about the sound to me. Of course, there is songs that I've finally learned the words to. It's not. I used to be the guy. I would buy a cassette. Yeah, I say cassette. I'm that old. I didn't. We had records. I mean, I had records when I was a kid, but not many. I
Yeah,
wasn't. When I was a kid, I was playing sports,
yeah.
playing baseball, mostly baseball.
Music mostly came on cassettes when we were younger.
Yeah. Well, my brother Mike was really big into the music. I mean, he loved it, and he joined the army when we moved here to Oklahoma.
Is
And
Mike the one that was a ranger?
yes,
Okay.
uh, Michael, when you in Illinois, okay, in Illinois, you start school earlier than you do in Oklahoma.
What do you mean by early? Like
Like in
earlier in.
kindergarten, you're like 5 years old when you
Okay.
start.
Okay. I thought you meant
So
like
when we
earlier.
moved here to Oklahoma, my brother Mike was a junior in high school, and he was 16. He graduated 17 years old. Wanted to go in the army. He wanted to follow my dad's footsteps. He wanted to go in the army. And well, I don't know if he wanted to follow my dad's footsteps. I think he wanted to pay for his college. Is probably what it was. And we weren't a rich family. We were middle class, still are. Um, we're rich with love. Anyway, anyway, my brother Mike had to be signed off, so he took off to. I mean, this was like 1992.
Okay.
So there wasn't really much going on, you
Not
know.
not not
So he got sent over to
Desert
Germany.
Storm was over.
Yeah,
Yeah. Bill
it
Clinton was
might,
taking
yeah,
office.
yeah. It might even been before then. Anyway, uh, he got sent over to Germany. Well, what he would do is over there, music was a lot cheaper to buy on cassettes or whatever
In Germany?
in Germany. Yeah, so he would buy all his music on cassettes in Germany, and when he came home, he had a little area in one of the bedrooms in the house with the cassette holders, and he would for his collection.
Mhm.
Brother Mike is a huge collector. I mean, he's got Wheaties boxes, baseball cards, football, basketball, T-shirts, concert stuff. Just holy
He just
shit! I mean, his whole basement in Chicago is just collector, and it's organized. It's not like you walk down there and like, oh my god, it's all organized. I mean, he knows where that is and this is and that. I'm talking comic books,
if he wants to show you something, he'll walk right to it,
right
pull
to
it
it.
off, and be
Boom.
like, "Here you
Yeah,
go."
yeah, yeah. Most of the time, you ain't looking at it.
Yeah.
He'll be pointing at it.
You
Yeah,
can see it behind the
there,
glass
yeah,
right
there
there.
it is. Isn't that nice? Yeah, that's great.
I wouldn't let you touch my shit
No,
either if I was your
no,
brother.
no.
You're gonna drop it.
But so whenever he would come home and put the new, that's where I started like listening to music
You
because
would
I,
listen to
I,
his
would- I
cassettes
would
that he would
listen to
bring.
his cassettes, right? And very tenderly, I'd listen to him sitting. I'd sit right in that
Gently
room,
put it in the
right. I mean,
jukebox.
I was sitting right next to where he had the cassettes, and I would listen to it right there at the jukebox. Just sit there and listen and just read the lyrics. And
I remember that about cassettes is it had
yeah,
you folded that thing out inside the cassette and it had every word. I
right,
miss that about
right,
music, man.
and yeah. I mean, the albums sometimes had that you pull out the record and it had the little paper thing around it, and
Mhm,
that's where the lyrics would be.
mhm,
Other than that, it was just art
mhm.
inside, but that was here and there. But the cassettes, yeah, always had the lyrics inside, unless it was something just like you got from some local band or something. But that's what I did. And I can remember it was actually a CD. And me and my two younger brothers, Bill and John, actually, I think me and Bob were sharing a room at the time. But I hung around with my brother Bill and John because we're close to age. And this is what I got when I got introduced to Pantera. And my brother Mike walks in the room, and this is when CDs just came out.
So late 80s, early 90s?
It was Cowboys from Hell, so it was early
Well,
90s,
okay.
probably like 91. I want to say I was 12, so I'm not going to do the math.
What year
No,
were
I
you
mean,
born?
76.
So that's 88 if you were 12.
Okay, so 88. I don't know. It might have been after that. I was 14 or 15. Anyway, it's before I was driving, before I turned 16. My brother Mike comes in and he's like, "Hey, I want you guys to listen to this." And I was like, and I'm looking at the front of the CD and I see there's guys and there's a bar and there's a guy like jumping in the air. And I was like,
It says Pantera.
well, this is Pantera, Cowboys from Hell. And I'm like, let's give it a listen. So we put it in. My brother Mike, I guess, had something to do. He gave it to us and said, take care of it. I'll be back. Me and my brother John and Bill, we ended up tearing up that room. We got into a mosh pit. Yeah, we love that. We love Pantera. And there was one song on it, it was called Heresy. And we listened to that song over and over and over and over again. There's good, there's a lot. That's great album. But
That's what I do with music. If I like a song, I will listen to it over and over and
play
over
the shit
till
out of
I've got it up here,
Right.
man.
right. Well, I mean, that's when I got introduced to Pantera. That's pretty much when I started going heavy. My sister Beth had a boyfriend named Rick, who she actually had her first child with my nephew Zach. And he was a big Metallica fan. Now, I got introduced to Metallica in the Black Album, which is
That's when I got introduced.
yeah, Enter
Yeah,
Sandman,
that's when I was introduced.
Sad
to
but
metal.
True. Great, great song, great album. But Rick started introducing me to earlier albums. Holy shit! I mean, Kill 'Em All, little heavy. I mean, but that was their first big album. And that was still Dave Mustaine. Dave Mustaine from Megadeth was still playing for him at that time. And then they came out with I think Ride the Lightning was next. Yeah. Ride the Lightning, then Master of Puppets, and that's when Cliff Burton, the or bass player, ended up dying on that tour. Yeah, because then they had Jason Newsted for Injustice for All. But all those albums back, oh my God, I was like, oh, Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, blew my mind. And then I was like, this Black album, oh, what's going on here? There was Sad But True. That was a good song. My Friend Misery was a really good tune. Um, but it just wasn't like the earlier albums where they were just kicking ass. And then James decided he didn't want to drink anymore. And that's when I would like load and reload, and I was like, I fell off. But
Those albums did seem pretty mainstream.
right, they went really mainstream, and that's
It's
okay.
it's I know Lars hates the term sellout, you know. Well, I remember in the 90s there were it was whenever I think it was whenever Load came out and they had cut all their hair off.
hmm
Uh he had done an interview and he
Well,
thought
there
it
was
was
a whole Napster thing too.
well, yeah, that came later. But this particular interview, the guy was talking about everybody's saying that you guys are selling out. He's like, yeah, we sell out. We sell out every fucking stadium we do,
Right.
which was absolutely true.
Don't
And they were rocking it.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I've gone
but
and
it
seen
just-
Metallica
yeah.
since those albums came out.
Yeah.
It's like if
But
they're-
you can tell.
right, because when you go see Metallica now, it's not like they play all their new stuff. They play
They play the songs you want to
everything.
hear.
Right. They play
That's what people are
all
there for.
right.
Now they make like I like that about going to live shows is when you go to see a band and they play all the hits that you want to hear.
Right.
But then every once in a while, hey, we're working on this song. We're gonna play it for you real quick. I do enjoy that.
Right.
I love hearing that.
Now, there was one year I was at Rocklahoma and Queensryche was there. And they just put out a new album. Well, they started playing all their new stuff. Well, the crowd started booing.
That's not what people are there for.
Right. I mean, don't get me wrong. The new album was okay. I mean, But we want to hear Jet City Woman. We want to hear Silent Lucidity. We want to hear, Empire. We want to hear Queensryche,
Yeah.
1980s, early 1990 Queensryche. And finally, the lead singer, Jeff A, came out, after they played like 2 or 3 songs off the new album.
And people were booing.
Yeah, and he finally, he was pissed. Don't get me wrong, he was pissed. And he was like, "All right, I guess you guys haven't really heard our new album or
That's what it
da-da," and
is,
then that's
man.
exactly it.
They you
There's probably 200 people out of the 10,000 people that are there that have listened to the new album and like it. But do you want to satisfy the 200 or do you
wanna
want to
satisfy
satisfy
the
the
whole crowd.
10,000?
Yeah.
Right. So they busted out, started playing the old shit, and what do you
Rocked out.
know? The
People
crowd
loved it.
loved it.
That's what I'm saying. People go to shows like that because they want to sing along to your
Right.
music, the songs that they like. They want to scream, they want to dance, they want to enjoy it. You're playing new stuff that people don't know. Yeah, maybe they might bob their head and okay, this is a
Sure.
good
Yeah.
tune. I'll
Yeah.
check it
Oh, this
out.
sounds like this one song from
Yeah,
back in the day.
but they can't jam out like they want to. You know?
Right. It's like also I kind of ran into that with Alice in Chains. I saw them at Rocklahoma, and they just put out a new album with their new singer,
Oh
and
yeah,
the dude is amazing.
yeah, no,
He's really good.
yeah.
But they played some stuff off of Dirt and off of Jar of Flies and stuff like that. But they're playing a lot of their new stuff, and nobody nobody was booing them. But everybody, you could kind of tell the crowd was kind of like, "All right, sounds
Yeah.
good. All right." And they played a good show, but then it was probably like 3 or 4 months later, they played here at the Zoo Amphitheater. They played all their old stuff, and I was there. I lost my voice because I was singing every fucking word. I mean, it was so emotional for me.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I never got to see Lane. I never got to see Alice in Chains when Lane was alive, and when it's I mean, I could close my eyes and the dude sounds like Lane. He's Lane, to me. And I've actually been doing
He's the black dude with dreads, right?
yes,
Right?
yes.
Yeah.
Um, he played in some band back in the day, but I don't remember the name of it. He had a good voice then, but anyway, lately I've been doing a lot of tribute stuff, like going to see okay,
Cover song type stuff.
well, they're tribute bands.
Okay.
I've been going to see a lot of tribute bands, which is great. I mean, last one I went to, it was Nirvana and Pearl Jam. And
Hold your thought. I gotta pee.
okay.
1 second. There's no pause button, so if you wanna say something.
Oh, okay. Cool.
You didn't bless the people with any wise words from the Deneens.
No, I was checking my phone, doing what everybody else does in this world.
All right, so
Yeah, the
tribute
tribute
bands.
bands. Nirvana and Pearl Jam, and it was great. They were, I mean, it wasn't like, oh my God, these guys sound just like, but it was fun, And July 12th at Tower Theater, there's 2 bands coming in, tribute bands, and it's going to be Incubus and Tool, tribute bands.
I love Incubus. I
Yeah.
saw them when they were at the zoo. First concert I ate mushrooms I went to.
Oh, nice.
Dude, I had an epiphany during that show, man.
Oh, cool,
I
man.
had an
I
epiphany,
love
bro.
mushrooms, man. I like microdosing. I'm not a big
Well, I didn't eat too much to where I was out of control
right,
because I mean it's the zoo, it's a concert, I'm in a
sure,
strange place. I don't really care for that.
right,
Like I'll only eat that much if I'm chilling at my house for,
right,
and I got 9 hours where I ain't got to do nothing.
right,
You know what I
right.
mean?
I mean, I'm well. Back in my high school days, I did part. Everybody experiments. I mean, I never smoked crack or anything, but I did experiment with acid, and it was cool. You know, I had a buddy named Jason that I went to high school with, and his mom was single. Well, she had a boyfriend, but on the weekends she was gone, and I would go stay the night. And she smoked, so we could smoke in the house. You know, just don't burn the place down. I think the cat's playing with something.
Sorry, it's Gus.
Uh, there he is moving around. So every once in a while, we'd experiment. His dad lived in a little apartment by himself, so he would go and visit his dad, and his dad smoked weed, and he'd steal his little
Get a little bit of
yeah,
weed.
get a little bit of weed, and we'd get it a couple times. We got acid, and his mom had kick-ass entertainment. TV, big speakers, and
Let's preface this story by back then, kick-ass sound
yeah,
systems
sound system,
were
right?
took up a whole wall.
Yes, yes.
Like
I mean,
big, like
boom.
6 foot tall
Well, they
speakers.
were 6 foot
Well,
tall, but they were
yeah,
definitely, up here,
yeah.
and we would just drop a hit of acid and watch like Pink Floyd, The Wall, and stuff like that. Just watch crazy,
Mhm.
animation stuff like that. Well, animation really wasn't real big back then. I mean, I didn't. I'm
No,
sure it was that out there, but we weren't into it.
yeah.
We just like watch music videos. That's when MTV still had music videos. Well, we love
Used to
things
love
like
watching MTV, man.
that. Yeah,
Used to love watching music videos.
yeah. It's Saturday morning.
Yeah.
We'll get done watching your cartoons, pop on MTV, and just listen to the music.
Oh, Saturday
Yeah. So you're. I'm 47.
You're 6 years older
6 years. Okay.
or 5, right?
5. Okay. No, I'm 48. Shit.
So you're 6 then.
Okay.
You were
Yeah.
born in 76. I was born in 82.
Okay. So Saturday morning cartoons were a little bit different. Maybe not too
I
much.
mean, it was like when I watched Saturday morning cartoons, mainly I watched it for X-Men,
Okay.
the old X-Men cartoons.
Yeah.
Like that's was my favorite Saturday morning.
See, my Saturday morning cartoons was Looney Tunes.
Well, I mean, I watched Looney Tunes and
Right.
everything too. Yeah.
And then
Wile E. Coyote, Roadrunner,
oh
Tom and Jerry.
yeah. Well,
Uh,
Tom and Jerry was on during the week. So it was like G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe's was another
Right.
good one. Yeah, the real American hero.
Right. Now there was Dungeons and Dragons.
I don't really remember that cartoon.
Yeah. That was on Saturday. I mean, honestly, on Saturday, we didn't really. I mean, I was so busy trying to get out of the damn house.
I've never
Saturday mornings, we were allowed to watch a little, eat breakfast,
watched
watch a little TV.
breakfast and cartoons, and
Right.
then we would go out and play
Well, we weren't allowed to go out and play until our rooms were clean.
chores.
Chores, do our chores, and then we got the hell out of the house.
Come back when the street lights come on.
Well, the reason why we got the hell out of the house, because if we didn't leave, Mom would have us do more chores. I mean, she always had things
Something to do.
There was always something to do. Now, when we were in Chicago, my mom used to work in banquet halls. Like she was a cocktail waitress
Okay.
in banquet halls. And there was the Lexington House and there was Beverly Woods. Those were the two that she worked at. In Beverly Woods, not so much. The neighbor, Mrs. Minogue, she worked at Beverly Woods. She was full time there. But whenever Mrs. Minogue had something special to do with her family, which she had, I think 6, 7 kids herself, um, my mom would fill in for her.
Mhm.
She'd go work at Beverly Woods and do the lessons in the house. Because I mean, here was the deal. My dad had this bell. It was about as big as this cup.
Okay.
It was well in Chicago Ridge. We weren't allowed to go inside of any of our friends' homes. We had to stay outside, which was fine with me. But my dad got home. He wanted to eat with his family. He wanted to see what his kids did that day. You know, very interested. Wanted to sit down with his family. You know, that's the way it was. So when he got home and it was ready to eat, he would step outside that door and ring that bell. And he would swing that thing for 2 minutes. Ding, 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 ding. Whole neighborhood, all the kids, parents, everything, they knew.
Deneen, it's time to go
Yeah,
home.
time to go home. And here's the deal: like, if we didn't hear the bell,
Means you're too far.
well, maybe too far. Yeah. Or we were doing something that we weren't supposed to be doing. Like we were in somebody's home, and we'd be out in the street. We riding our bike. Kind of just walking around. Whatever. And then that one neighborhood kid would walk up and have that face like, "Your dad rang the bell 2 minutes ago." Oh no! So it's like beeline. And sometimes we wouldn't get warned. And my dad, of course, there was always a bike around that my dad could jump on. There's a 10 speed. My dad would jump on that 10 speed and go cruising around the neighborhood looking for us. And if we did that, we were in deep shit. Yeah. We got a kick in the ass or slap in the back of the head on the way in. What are you doing? Get in there, eat.
I like that though. I like that he wanted to eat with his family.
Oh yeah,
Like,
definitely.
that's
the
a
whole
that's a
point.
very good thing that you guys have. You know what I mean?
Like, and it wasn't so much, hey, what did you kids do today? How was school? It wasn't so much like that. It was just the presence of you
Family,
being there,
family.
be there. And not only that, figure out what the hell's going on. Like, okay, you got football practice, you got, who's got practice, who needs to be this where, blah, blah, blah. Did you get your schedule? Not only that,
This is due at school tomorrow,
yeah,
kind of thing.
that kind of
Oh,
deal.
you have
Is
a
there any,
project
yeah,
that
is
we
there
gotta.
anything, yeah, is there anything that needs to be signed? Did you win any awards? Blah 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 blah. We also as growing up in Chicago, we had paper routes, and I mean, I was 6 years old. I was riding my bike with the bag on my and throwing papers. The Chicago Sun Times, Chicago Tribune, even the Wall Street Journal for some people.
It's an early morning job.
Oh yeah. I mean, they would the paper people would drive by, you know how you see in the movies where
Mhm.
they drive by our house, whoop, bam, they're right in the
Right.
driveway. My dad would pick up the bundle, and we had the little green rubber bands, which we made rope out of. Oh my god, so many times. But go down to the basement, and my dad would roll them up, fill the bags up, and we haul up, bring, get to our bikes. I got I had I got a Huffy. That was my first bike, and it had a banana seat. It was one of the long ones, and it was a Western one. It looked like, I don't know, it was brown and beige anyway. Well, it came with handlebars, and handlebars were kind of, just, boop, boop, boop. My dad had the ape arm. He took those handlebars off and put the ape arm on there so we could wrap the bag, get the bag on there, for the
Okay.
newspaper.
Yeah.
And oh man, that was it. I mean, I've been working since I was 6 years old. Well, when we moved here, there was no paper routes like that, and everybody paper routes were adults in
in
vehicles,
vehicles.
right?
Yeah.
We didn't even have that choice, so kind of sucked because we used to. I used to save up money, and I go to my younger brothers or my older brother's baseball game, and they always had a concession stand, and I could buy a shitload of candy
Hmm.
with my money that I made from my paper route. And yeah, that stopped when we moved here. Not only the only thing that really sucked about the playing baseball here, is there's no little league. And the Little League World Series they have on ESPN. I don't know if you know about that or
I
not.
do.
Okay.
I'm aware of
Well,
it.
the Little League World Series, I mean, that's real legit shit. I mean,
I've,
those kids have scouts looking at them.
yeah, I've seen some of them, and those kids they play like
Right.
pros.
They're good.
They play like pros.
But in Chicago, that's what it was. It was Little League. I was 6 years old. I was on the mound. We had kids on the mound throwing the ball, pitching. And by the time I made it here, I was about 10. So I was at that age level where they were pitching. But there's no Little League. There's like PCO, PCAA, and then there's Tri City. Well, I ended up getting on a team. There's a church, a Catholic church on 50th and Grove called St. Charles Borromeo, and I they had a baseball team. Well, we were called the Bombers at first, and then all the bombing things started, so they changed their name. Anyway, my younger John and Bill, they played t-ball. I never played t-ball. Then they moved up to pitching machine. I never played pitching machine, and then they moved up to the coach pitch, where the coach would
I
pitch the
remember
ball.
Coach Pitch.
And I didn't. We didn't play. I never played that. Not only that, they played at PCO. So every game that they were at that one sportsplex, and they always play on the same field. Now I played for a team where we didn't travel around the state or anything,
But
but
around the
we
city,
travel around the city. We play at PCAA, play at PCO, we play at Tri City.
wherever you play.
So we're moving around. And my brothers were so jealous of that because they always played pretty much every Saturday at the same time on the same field.
Yeah,
And it just got boring,
yeah.
for them. For me, it didn't. I think I played baseball probably till I was 15 or 16. And then I just kind of started working and then just didn't have time for it.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't think I never would have made it to the majors. There's no way. That's the whole thing about it is playing here. You didn't play on a little league team. There wasn't scouts looking at you. There
Yeah.
was no nothing like that. You had to make it play to college ball and hopefully move on. I mean, there's not many. I mean, back in the
It's
day,
not what it is today,
right? I mean, like Mickey Mantle, he is from Oklahoma. Johnny Bench, he's from Oklahoma. But that was back in the 40s and 50s. These were just kids that would go try out. You know, Now it's college, and the little league. They watch you.
Progress.
Scouts, yeah, they're watching you your whole life progress all the way up to college ball. I mean, some of these kids. I think in baseball, you actually have to play one season of college ball before you could go into the majors. But even then, the majors you play on a single A, double A, triple A, team
That's why
before you make it to
that's why I think that skipping college thing is a bad idea. Like because you have
right.
eventually your sports career is going to end, and
Sure.
then you're going to have another 45 years of life on average that you need to do something.
Well, not
Well,
only that,
you need to be able to afford, and if you don't manage your money correctly, which a lot of sports people
oh
do
yeah,
not,
right, Right.
If
Oh
you
yeah.
don't, or they, a lot of times they get robbed by people, you
Right.
know,
Oh yeah.
managers and things.
There's people out there
Um,
that that's their life plan is to rob people that are
yeah.
making a lot of money.
And if you're not smart with your money, if you skipped college and you have no education and you didn't learn anything while you were playing ball, you've got nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
You're
They
gonna,
ended up being a grocery sacker
yeah.
at your local supermarket.
That's why I think the whole like I mean, it worked out great for LeBron James going straight from high school into
Sure.
playing
Sure.
basketball, but that's not a majority of people's story.
No.
That's not a majority.
No. Not at
That's a
all.
1%.
Right.
Like he is uh an out not what's the word I'm looking for? It's a synonym for unique. He's a
Uh,
unique case.
right. Definitely.
Like what he has accomplished in his life.
Yeah.
That's very unique. That's
Right.
not a lot of people who go and play sports.
No. Not at all. And
You
yeah,
know,
straight out of high school, and you there's a lot of baseball players, and they'll come straight out of high school, and then they'll try to make it up through the the system. The farm team, the double A. I mean, it's like okay, Michael Jordan.
going to the big show.
Yeah, exactly. You've seen you've seen the movie anyway.
I know a little bit about sports. I just don't fill my brain with it.
Right. I do.
I,
I love
yeah, I know
sports.
you love sports.
Um,
A lot of people do. I mean,
right.
it's
I
very
mean, you go into
entertaining to watch.
Lumpies during football season on a Sunday afternoon. I guarantee I'm going to be in there. I'm going to be in there watching my Chicago
Oh,
Bears
absolutely.
lose, but well, hopefully not this season. But
Used to love those Sundays when
oh
the
yeah,
Bears would be playing the Chiefs and Rachel would be sitting at the same
yeah,
table with you, Deneen's, and y'all be
yeah,
especially Bill.
yeah,
Oh God.
yeah. Yeah, good times. And then when the game's over, we're still friends.
We're friends again.
Right.
Let's have a shot.
Yeah. Or I need to eat something.
Yeah.
I had too much to drink. I need to eat something. Uh, but those kids, they'll be great players, and they'll get through the system finally, and then they'll finally, go to the show, and then they'll get hurt. That's it, man. I mean, a lot pitchers are, they have that Tommy John surgery with their elbow, their
Goes out.
shoulders go out. Yeah, I mean, you can only fix it so many times, and they do get paid a lot of money. But when you're playing before you go to the show, you're not making that kind of money. I mean, shit, a lot of those guys are working side jobs just to, you know, and it's little piddly shit. I mean, they can't even work because they travel,
Yeah. They got to travel with their team.
Right? They got to travel with their team, and it's good. They do get paid, but it's not big time. But I mean, even before you even make it to the majors, you can get hurt. And I mean, if you hurt yourself,
Then the majors aren't even looking at you
right? They're
because
like,
you're a liability at
yeah.
that
It's
point.
like, okay, well,
And
we'll give him another chance, and if he doesn't exceed,
well, that's
bye.
that's what like that's our team here, the Dodgers.
Mhm.
They're
Oh, the Oklahoma City Ball Club,
oh, it's not the
baseball
Dodgers
club. They're
anymore.
not Dodgers anymore.
Oh, my bad.
I'm saying.
They used to be the sister team for the Dodgers, right?
Well, they still are,
Yeah,
but
they changed the name.
there's
to
something to
City Ball
do.
Club.
Yeah, they changed their name. It probably has something to do with the Dodgers. Like, well, we don't really, their name is, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
The Dodgers, it's probably something like that.
But I mean, if you get on the team here, that's no guarantee you're going to go to the
Oh,
show
no,
and you're going to make it.
uh,
You could be. They see somebody that's on. Hey, that's enough.
probably mailman.
Or somebody walking by. Could be the CrossFitters. They love barking at the CrossFitters that run. There's a
Oh,
CrossFit gym,
oh, there is.
just like
Okay.
the back end of where there's some warehouses, and
Oh, okay.
from their CrossFit gym to the end of our street and back, I think is a mile.
Oh, okay.
So they'll run that
Okay.
in their workouts.
Well, I hope well, it's actually not too bad of a day.
No, it's not.
It's nice out.
Now they're that's what they do there. Is just work out.
But
But
yeah,
there's no guarantee you're going to go from this minor league team to the show. Like you could just make $70,000 for 10 years in this minor league,
right.
and then your career's over.
I mean, there's other things to do. I mean, a lot of these fellows they'll go like into uh, coaching, and they don't make as much money. But um, what team was it? It was college. I think I want to say it was Tennessee, Tennessee or Florida State. Either way, they got this young cat. That's their coach or one of the coaches. He's a coach. I don't know if I think he's an assistant coach. But he was gonna go to the majors, and I don't know if he got hurt or something, and he just fell in love with the ball club where he played, and he's like, "You know what? Just gonna stay here." And he stayed, and I wanna say it's Florida State. It might be Texas A&M. I don't know. No, it's not Texas A&M. Anyway,
Doesn't matter.
doesn't matter. He's getting paid, still going to school, you know, but he's a coach. He's an assistant coach. He can't. I don't think you can be a head coach and go to school.
Enough. They're protecting us. Let's see what they're protecting us from.
Someone running. I just saw him go.
Yeah, see, look. Not spitters. It's okay. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy.
But I guess back to me. California, moved out there with the band. Things didn't work out. I was out there for like 3 months. It really sucked.
You were part of this band?
No, I was like their stage manager kind of deal.
Okay.
Um, that didn't work out. Moved back here, started working for Cat Radio. They were Caribou at the time, and that's how I got in with the Samurai. I would go well before. Well, those are my days off. On Wednesday nights at the Samurai, they had the Hot Mama contest, and they would have a live DJ for Cat Radio out there. Now we wouldn't actually do the Hot Mama contest on the air, but we would do a remote. And so I would go out there, and this is back when we had
Hey, we're broadcasting live from such and
Right.
such. Come out.
right.
Like,
I wasn't the DJ, but I worked for production, and I would go out there and drive the big van and set up the antenna and the Marty. This was back when we actually shot a signal,
okay.
and I would this is the railback flip phones Motorola,
Yeah.
and I was only allowed to use it to call the station. That's it. Wasn't allowed to call anybody else because it was expensive back
Yep.
then.
They charge
And
you for minutes back then,
right,
man.
right.
Every minute
So
you
I
use
would
it
call the
costs money.
station, and it was usually the Blade Runner that was on the air at the time. And I'm like, "Hey, this is Brian. I'm up at Samurai. Just want to know if the signal's good." And I would have the microphone in front of me, and I would have to, test, test, test. And he goes, "Gotcha. All right." And then Greg Zubek, come on, Greg Zubek, Samurai Sake House, Hot Mama contest, come on out, blah 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 blah. You do a few remotes. That's when Itchy. I actually went to a reunion last weekend. Yeah, we had a reunion. It was his 82nd birthday. Went out to Belle Isle Brewery and did a reunion, samurai reunion. Ran into some old friends, blah blah blah. Anyway, good times over. Then started working the door there for him for Itchy. Just on days I was working cat production was cool. They paid me decently, but they didn't give me a lot of hours. And I'd work 25, 30 hours there, but then on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday night, the churro needed a door guy. So I was like, okay, I'll do it. and he paid me like $100 a night. So, and it was cash.
It's
So,
not bad back then.
and back there, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday night, oh, it's noon.
Mhm.
Uh, band sucked, so they didn't really have packed house. So I really didn't have to do any bouncing. I
Yeah.
mean, it was pretty much 2 o'clock come around, 1:45. I started. If anybody was in there, time to go. Don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Get out. And then I would vacuum the place. He'd pay me. Oh, really simple, easy job. Did that, then started working at Mazio's. My sister got a job at the Edmond Mazio's, and they needed people to open up. And we would open up, and we'd make the pizzas for the buffet, and we'd stay through the buffet, and then after that we'd go home, and then the night people come in anyway. Um, and then I had a buddy named Johnny, and he was working for a wholesale liquor company, and they needed warehouse guys. I was like, well, how much does it pay? And it was way better than what I was making at Mazio's.
Of course.
So I didn't even put in my 2 weeks at Mazio's. I was like, I quit and went up to the wholesaler. And boom, I was in there. Started working there. Worked my way up to where I was delivering for him. Did work there for about 6 years, and that's that's 6 years. That's when I moved to California. No, 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 no. I ended up leaving that wholesaler and working for another one, that one out of Tulsa. And I worked for them for about a year. And then that's when I moved to California. And I was there for 3 months. And I actually called this wholesaler out of Tulsa because I was coming back. I was like, can I get my job back? And they were like, they needed someone so bad, they like, we'll pay for your plane ticket. I was like, sweet. So I was driving a Mitsubishi Galant at that time. I drove it out there. It was falling apart. It was falling apart. I wasn't doing any maintenance on the thing because I couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
So I ended up selling it to the guitar player. He drove it to San Francisco, met up and started playing with somebody up there. Ended up driving, things didn't work out for him in San Francisco. He drove it back to Oklahoma City, and that's when it just took a shit, and that was it. The car was done. But I sold it to him for $900. It was still running in a good condition when I sold it to him. It needed maintenance, needed oil change, stuff like that. But he didn't give a shit. He just needed a car.
Yeah.
So anyway, moved back here. Um, Started working with Jarbo again, delivering liquor, and I was actually delivering liquor. That was when I was helping my brother clean the shop,
Okay.
and also then George took over for me because he needed some extra cash. And I was like, I'm good with it. It's just extra cash for me. And then I started working at Byron's Liquor Warehouse. I would work my job at the.
Sam. Sam. It's not that bad. Gus. That's enough. Shh.
Well, I would deliver liquor during the day, and I'd get off early. I mean, 12, sometimes 11 o'clock.
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
And
Yeah.
I'd go work at Byron's Liquor Warehouse on Monday through Friday from 5 to 9. I would work in their beer department, which was cool until me and one of the guys that I worked with got into it. He got all up in my face about something, and I told him, "Fuck off." I don't need this fucking job. I just do it for extra cash. And he's like, "Well, you didn't stock anything." And I was like, "I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I stocked everything. There's stuff that we're out of, and that, yeah, it didn't get stocked because we don't have it." And he was like threatening me, and I was like, and I went upstairs and I talked to the girl and I said, I quit. I'm done. And I went back down the stairs and I was like, I just quit the job. If you want to step outside, come on. He didn't step outside. Pussy. Of course not, fucker. Anyway, um, then I started working at this little liquor store over there off of Expressway in Council. It's not there anymore. It's actually a massage parlor now. But that was really cool. I worked 5 to 9, Monday through Friday, and then Saturday I would work from 10 in the morning to 9 o'clock. I would open and close the place, and I was the only person in there. I mean, literally, this liquor store was probably from that wall to that wall, and I mean, literally, it was that big. It was
Yeah.
really small, but
I think I know which liquor store you're talking about.
right, it was
I
really
remember.
right there next to well, CVS is still the strip mall is still there. Daylight Donuts. There's a Daylight Donuts right next door because the guy that came and cooked
Oh yeah,
the
next to
donut.
the Highlights Hair Salon.
Yes,
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
That liquor store right there. Uh,
I used to go get my hair cut there because it was cheap
yeah. Um,
when I had hair.
well, the guy at Daylight Donuts, the guy that cooked the donuts overnight, he would come in and get himself a half pint of vodka every night. So he was sipping on some.
While he was making donuts.
Sure, why the hell not? He's the only one in there.
Yeah.
And
The motherfuckers get there at like 2 o'clock in the morning.
oh, dude, he
That's
would.
when they start.
No, he'd get there before 9 o'clock.
Oh, at night, the night
Yeah.
before to cook. Oh, wow.
Yeah, because he would come in before I closed, you know, like right before I closed, but he'd come in right before I closed and go and lock the door and go over there. Maybe he sat there and sipped on the bottle and then started making the donuts. Hopefully he's
To
not
each
burnt
their-
all up, but anyway.
He's the one who invented donut holes. He was drunk.
Ooh, I was
He was like, huh? Hmm.
yeah. I can
We
eat
should
these.
sell these.
Yeah, these are good.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure that that's what it was, something like that. Well, anyway, then actually moved in with Jeremy, who was one of the guys that I went to California with. He was in the band, and hung out. Was there, and then I started dating this girl, and she was all about. She was 30. She's like, my eggs. I want to have kids, and I was like, I'm not having kids. I'm not. No, you got the wrong guy. Not with you anyway. And my
It's
buddy,
been 6 days.
right, my buddy Tim hit me up, and he was living in Seattle at the time, and they needed a roommate. One of their roommates moved out, and they needed a roommate. And I was like, uh, I need to get away from this girl.
That's the best way to do it.
So I was trying. I was trying. Yeah. I was gonna try to just scoot out. Well, me and her went to Target one day. We're at the Target over there off of May. I don't know. Yeah, that super Target right there off of May and like
Just off Expressway.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, across from Dave and Buster's.
Uh-huh.
And we're walking out, and I'm talking to Tim on the phone, and
Slip up.
it slipped up about me coming out there, and she freaked the fuck out. Started crying. I thought we were getting married. I was like, whoa, I thought we were gonna have a life together. Whoa, I was like, no, never said that. Never, that wasn't the plan. If I said anything like that, I was probably drunk and
Trying to
feeling
flip.
emotional. Right? Well, yeah, we were living together. I'm okay. Jeremy, the guy that I was in the band with, he ended up getting his girlfriend pregnant. She was there all the time.
So you moved out.
So I was like, y'all, the emotions about to start with her and being pregnant and everything is like, I'm out. I'm gonna go live with my girl. I moved in with her. Turns out this was one of the things that actually pushed me more towards getting away from her. She was addicted to Lortab, and she was spending so much money. I was like,
Oh.
how is she had a really good job, made great money. And I was like, and she was always broke. And I was like, how are you always broke? You know, you make, I mean, she was making like six figures a year, you know, and at that time it wasn't, six figures. You're doing great.
Mhm.
She had her own place, bills were paid, she didn't have any kids. She had two cats, and that's it. And everything was great. And I moved in with her, and man, the first 6 months were great. I mean, hanging out, doing the thing. Sure, her brother played in a band. We go out and see her brother play. Her dad was a real. Her dad was different. I mean, he was cool, but whenever she would start dating a guy, he would like cut her off. Like he wouldn't help her out with anything or anything like
Is
that.
that your job now or something?
I guess I don't know. I don't. So whatever. That's what she told me. I never got. I was like, whatever. That's between you and him.
Yeah.
I'm not getting involved. Anyway, uh, I found out about her pills, and I told her, I was like, that was one of the reasons why things didn't work out in California, because the drummer was addicted to opiates,
Mhm.
and he couldn't find it out there, and ended up going through withdrawals, and it was,
Probably getting into
well,
heroin.
I don't know if he couldn't find, he didn't have any money.
Yeah.
He didn't. That's why I started going with the withdrawals, because he couldn't find anything to help him with his addiction.
Mhm.
So he freaked out, and they were in a studio, and he stole two microphones from studio. We knew a guy that ran sound, had sound systems, and ran sound. He was living in California at the time. Sold it to him so he could buy a ticket to come back to Oklahoma City. So he pretty much quit the band,
Yeah.
and that's when it was like, okay,
Guess this ain't gonna
time for
work
me
out.
to go.
Yeah.
There's nothing for me here. I mean, I'm not gonna become a bum and live on the street and try to do something. It's like
Please give me some money.
yeah, I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go.
Like you said,
Right.
you've been working since you were 6. Like,
Yeah, I'm a worker.
yeah.
Anyway, back to the girl on opiates. I pretty much told her, I was like, it's drugs or me, and she chose me. And then things changed. We weren't going out. I didn't change. She was, trying to take me to NA meetings, AA meetings, and stuff like that. And I did. I did go with her to meetings whenever I could. And when I couldn't, she would get upset with me. When I would go out and hang out with my boys and have a few drinks, go watch the game, whatever, I come home and I got the third degree, sleep on the couch, stuff like that. I was like, "This ain't working out, you know. And it might have been my ultimatum that changed things, but I wasn't comfortable anymore. It's like,
Yeah.
either I need to find my own place or I need to find my own space. Well, my buddy Tim pretty much made up the mind for me.
That's a lot
My
of
own
space.
space, right? It's a lot of
That's a lot
space.
of space.
Yeah, that's a 24-hour drive space.
Mm.
And she found out about it, freaked out. I was driving a little 2008 Chevy Cobalt at the time. Packed up everything that I could in the thing. I mean, literally back seat, trunk, driver's passenger seat. There was shit in there. Drove all the way to Seattle. Actually, I drove all the way to, where is it? Montana, Missoula, Montana. I made it all the way there in 18 hours. Stopped, stayed the night. And the reason why is because I stopped for gas in Missoula, and I was going to keep going. And it was getting dark. And it was that time of the year where the deer like to cross over the highway
Mm.
at the pass. And I, was talking to the clerk at the gas station. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna make it into," da, da, da," and he goes, "You're still, 8 hours from Seattle."
Yeah.
And not only that, you got to go through the pass, and the deer are moving right now. Not a good idea. Not with your car.
Yeah.
My little
You're not a
Cobalt
truck with the thing and
with the brush car,
yeah.
right? He's like, not a good idea.
Truck,
And I'm like, okay.
car would get fucked
So
up.
I went and got a room at Motel 6. And I got into Missoula like around 9:30 at night, their time.
Mhm.
And, got up early. We grabbed some Pop Tarts because that's what Motel 6 had, was Pop Tarts.
I'm surprised
And
Motel 6 had that.
yeah, I think they had the little boxes of cereal in the milk, and that
Mm,
was it.
I remember
I
those
think I
boxes.
grabbed a couple little things of milk and Pop Tarts, and 6 o'clock in the morning, I was back on the road. And I'm telling you, I'm so glad that I stayed there because that pass in the light is fucking beautiful, man. I
Yeah.
mean, it was hard for me to keep my eyes on the road. I'm just like, this is so beautiful. I mean, just all the pine trees down the mountain, the side of the mountains.
Dude,
It was so
so
beautiful.
a year ago in July, I went up to Eugene, Oregon to run the Keep Hammering 10K hosted by Cameron Haynes. Enough! Knock it off. I went up there and I drove from here up to Eugene, Oregon, and I took north to into Kansas and then to over to Denver and then up into Wyoming, Idaho, over into Oregon.
Okay.
And man, that is one of the most beautiful drives I've made across this fucking
Yeah.
country is up to the Pacific Northwest, man.
It's like when you've been living in the city. I mean, I'm not saying there's beautiful things here in Oklahoma,
Hmm.
but
Absolutely.
oh my God, it's breathtaking.
I always recommend to people like if you're going to travel somewhere in the lower 48 states, I always recommend to people to drive. Like
Right.
give yourself a day extra on each end of your trip and just drive there. Like there's so much beautiful landscape in this country
Right.
that you never see
Right.
because you fly from one city to the next.
Right. It's like the first time I went down the Broken Bow
Mhm.
in southeast Oklahoma. I was like, oh my God,
It's a different state,
yeah,
man.
it's this is beautiful. The white rock, the clear water, the trees are tall. Because here in the city, the wind blows so much,
They don't get
the
that.
trees won't grow that high.
No.
But anyway, so I moved to Seattle, worked in the for the Washington State Liquor Control Board. I was pretty much working in liquor stores up
Okay.
there. And I was there for about a year, little over a year. And my buddy and his girlfriend decided that they wanted to get their own place. And I was like, okay. Uh, I didn't make enough money or hourly, so got me a U-Haul, and I got a
You
little.
just couldn't afford
I
Seattle.
I couldn't afford Seattle,
Oh,
not on my own, not in the hours that I was making. I mean, I was working 40 hours a week, but that's it. It was Washington State, so I was pretty much working for the state.
okay.
And when it came to
It's
overtime,
9 to 5. Nope.
I
Yep.
mean,
40 hours a week. That's
right?
it.
I mean, if if you were, okay, if I went into work and I was at almost at my 40 hours and they're like, you need to clock out at like 2:52, not a minute late, of that,
Yeah.
they wouldn't give you 1 second overtime. They were very strict about it. So it's just that they weren't paying me enough. You couldn't get overtime. Yeah. So there was no, I mean, I would have to find a roommate, and it's kind of hard to find a roommate when you don't know anybody,
Yes, that is
so.
difficult.
Well, not only that, things might not have worked out.
Yeah.
So I went and rented me a little U-Haul, and I got one of those dolly trailers, and I towed my car back to Oklahoma City instead of driving it and putting the miles on
Mhm.
it. And actually, Tim came back with me, and his old roommate Adam, who moved out, he was from Colorado. So we stopped and dropped him in Colorado so he could go see his family. They both still live in Seattle, but Adam just flew back from Colorado, and then yeah, Tim came to visit family since I was coming anyway.
Hmm.
He came back here to visit family. Then I started back. What did I start? What did I do? Oh, that's when I started working for Napa Auto Parts. I mean, that's pretty much right around the time where I met you
Hmm.
and Rachel.
That's when I met you. You were working for Nap.
Right. And I worked for them for about 6.5 years. And about the fourth year, they told me I was making 15.91 an hour. In the fourth year, they told me I'm capped out. Like you can't in this where you're at in the warehouse, you can't make. We can't give you any more raises. Blah 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 blah. They did get kind of give me. That's it. The only thing I can give you is cost of living raise. So that was cool. Anyway, and I was like, well, how would I be able to make more money? I mean, this I worked there for 6 years. I pretty much knew everybody. I knew, I was like, I'm comfortable.
Hmm.
And they're like, well, you could become a supervisor, but that'll put you on salary, and you'll get bonuses and stuff like that.
I hate salary.
Yeah, and that's the only way. But at that time, I was about to turn 40. Three of the supervisors had been there for 15 to 18 years, and they were 6, 7 years younger than me. So they're not going anywhere. There's no way for me to get in the supervisor position. My ex brother in law at the time owned a plumbing company down in Texas. That's when,
I remember having these conversations with you because I was doing either
yeah,
had quit doing the plumbing or was doing the plumbing at the
yeah,
time.
you were doing the water heaters.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, you were doing plumbing. You
yeah,
were putting in water heaters.
yeah. I was working for Morgan Plumbing at the
Right.
time. He had a contract with Home Depot to do their installs,
Okay.
and that's what he sent me to do was
The
the Home
installs.
Depot
Right.
installs, everything from kitchen sinks to hot water tanks,
Okay.
toilets, all that
Right.
shit.
You were doing installs.
Basically,
Right. Um, so that's when I just, well, I was working, became the receiver for Napa. Like whenever the trucks would come in, I was a forklift driver. I would unload the trucks, bring it into the warehouse where it needed to go, and then our stockers would take it and stock the shelves with it. Well, it was around Christmas. It was right before Christmas or just at Christmas. Uh, they were replacing uh, shelves in the bulk room. That's where we call it the bulk room because that's what cases of antifreeze, cases of oil, batteries, all the heavy shit. We
hmm.
call it the bulk room because of that. And that's also where the receiving area was. Well, some of these guys would get on the forklifts or whatever the machines, and they would hit the corner of the shelves and bend them, you know, knock them out of whack.
Hmm.
Well, guys came in to repair them. Well, I had to take everything off those shelves. I mean, they were stacked way up there. And I'd take everything down and I'd put them on the floor. And we had guys out there pulling. They were pulling orders for stores. Well, both of the things that I used, the batteries went dead and they needed to be charged, and they took up to 2 to 3 hours to charge. And I left everything on the floor because they were fixing the machines.
Samuels, that's enough. Okay, we're not being robbed.
And so
You left everything on the
I
floor.
left everything on the floor, and one of the guys that was picking got upset with me, and it was 4 o'clock. They were also very strict about overtime. I could kind of get away with
A little bit.
a little bit here and there, but not like a couple hours. And I was working on like 45 minutes overtime at this point, and I had to get out. I had to get off the clock. Well, this guy again, like kind of like what happened with Byron's, it got in my face, started talking shit. And I'm like, all right. So I walked into the office and handed him my key card and was like,
Was it that calm?
no, it wasn't that
Because you're
cool.
like, all right.
I was pissed. I was really pissed. I mean, I want to knock this guy's teeth down his damn throat
Okay.
because he wouldn't let me leave. He was up in my face, and I was like, "Batteries are dead on the machines, dude. There's nothing I can do. You're gonna have to work around it.
Mhm.
Sorry about your fucking luck. Fuck off." You know. And then as I'm walking, he gets up in my face again. I was like, "Oh, all right." And so I walked into the office. I was like, handing my key card. I was like, "I quit." And I walked back out the office, and he was standing right there. The guy was started shit, and I was like, "Parking lot.
Let's go.
I'm going to clock out right now. I just quit. You want some? Come get some." Of course, he didn't. Anyway, that's when I called my brother-in-law. I was like, "Need a plumber? Need an apprentice? I need, I need to get the hell out. I need something."
Yeah.
This warehouse, that's when it all finally hit me. Like, can't be doing this shit, man. I need to be doing something where I can make some money and actually be able to buy a house someday for myself or something, And went down there, did 3 years of plumbing, uh, and then the COVID thing hit, and I was the low man on the totem pole. So, I mean, he was my brother-in-law at the time,
Mhm.
but we were service plumbers. We did residential, pretty much residential. That's all we did. Commercial here and there. But even the commercial, the restaurants, what nobody was letting anybody in their house because of the whole COVID thing. So I got let go. Um, Came back here to Oklahoma, started working. Lawrence.
Mhm.
Lawrence was flipping houses at the time.
Okay.
He was doing realtor, him and Andrew, and I started just replacing ceiling fans, stuff like that. Just doing little
Handyman work.
handyman work for him. And then started working at Crest in the meat department. That sucked. The only reason why it sucked is because I was working with a bunch of there was a young cat named Jeremiah that dude had work ethic. He worked. The rest of the guys, they didn't want to do anything. It's a bunch of young kids, and then they're asking me questions. Well, how do I? It's like, or what do I do? It's like, dude, I'm not your manager. I get paid as much as you do. Fuck off. Leave me alone. I'm doing my thing. You do yours. And then, well, I called in on a Saturday because I wanted to go play softball with the boys. I told them that I had stomach issues, which I didn't, of course. And the boss tells me that in the handbook, we're not allowed to call in on Saturdays. And I was like, that makes no fucking sense at all.
Somebody
So,
didn't want to do the work.
right. Well, he was like, well, bring me a doctor's note. And I was like, dude, I'm
I
not
hate
going.
that.
Yeah, it's like I'm not going to see a doctor because even if I had food poisoning, that's what I told him. I had food poisoning. And I was like, even if I did have food poisoning, I'm not going to see a doctor and spend $180 for them to say you have food poisoning.
That is my real quick before we go on. Can we get into that for a second? Because I'm sorry, but like I've called into places before, uh, and I've had managers be like for example, like I will call into work if I don't think I can be away from a toilet for more than 15
Sure,
minutes.
sure,
If I think I need to be near a toilet, I will call into work. Whether that be pooping or throwing up or whatever it may be.
right.
That's one of the things where I'm like, I'm not going to work
Not only that, if you're in the
because
service industry and you're sick, you might have the flu or something. You
exactly.
don't want to give
But
your virus to somebody.
even if I'm not in the service
Right.
industry, just regardless, if
Yeah,
I
you don't
can't
want
be
to get
away from
yeah,
a toilet, I'm
right,
calling in.
right.
And I've had many of people say, "Oh, you need a doctor's note." And I have said, "I'm not going to the doctor because I can't be away from a toilet. I will be into work tomorrow and I will not have a doctor's note with me because, like you said, I'm not paying some dude $100 to tell me what I already freaking know.
Right. Where I can go, I can have
I need to
one of
keep my
my wife, or I can have my mother or somebody go pick me up some fucking Pepto or some
yeah,
Imodium.
I just need to shit my brains out
Right.
and then
And
I'll
I'll
be
see you
okay
tomorrow.
tomorrow."
Right. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I hate
And
that.
he's like, yeah, you bring a doctor's note. Da, da, da. And I was like, well, then I quit. And he was like, what? I'm like, I quit. You know, I don't need your fucking job anyway. I didn't say that though. I pretty much told him, I was like, I quit, and I hung up. Well, a week later, he's calling me. Man, I really need you to come back. Blah blah blah. And I just blew him off. I never called him back or anything. I was like,
I would say meat department at Crest ain't worth that much
no.
trouble.
I mean, they're paying me $10 an hour. There was a guy that was I worked with there. He was an older gentleman. He's been working there for 2.5 years. He started at $10 an hour. He was there for 2.5 years, and he was making 11.25. So they gave him $1.25 raise in 2 years. No,
I tried to work in the warehouse department at Coca-Cola. Uh, I don't remember how many years ago it was. I got hired on. I started in there. I worked a couple. It was graveyard shift.
oh, okay.
'Cause we were pulling orders for the trucks. The
Yeah,
next day, it was basically a pull. I pulled the orders, created the order for that went on the truck and whatnot,
right.
and worked there a couple nights. Well, like 3 nights, 2 or 3 nights into it, the people who had tenure there were getting raises, and these were people who were driving forklifts, pulling off the big cases off the top shelf and whatnot. And I just got into talking to one of them and talking about their raise, and I think it was started like 12.50 an hour, maybe $12 an hour. But these people, this particular guy, this was his second raise, and he still wasn't making a dollar more than when he started.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got done with that
Yeah. Red
conversation.
flag.
I walked over to the dude. I was like, "Hey, man, I just came up here to let you know that this isn't for me, and I'm gonna go home."
Yeah.
And he kind of tried to, well, why? Why? I was like, that doesn't matter. Like, I've had a conversation with your tenure employees, and I'm just saying this place is not for me.
Right.
And I just wanted to let you know that I was going home.
Right.
Have a good night.
And I will not be back.
Have a good night.
Right.
Just wanted to let you know.
Right.
Like,
So you're not looking for me.
yeah,
I'm gone.
yeah. Hey, I finished pulling this order. It's right over there for you. Like,
Yeah. I'm gone.
I
Bye.
you have to know your worth, man.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Especially in a like, because at the end of the day, no matter what job you work, at the end of the day, you work to better your life.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're working for you. You're not working. Yeah, okay. You work for these people. What?
Sure.
But at the end of the day, you're working to better your life and your family's life, and you have to know your worth, man. Like,
If you don't know your worth, then
then you
stay in those
you
shit jobs.
end up in a
And, right.
shit job, and when you're 72 years old with no retirement, yeah. Sorry, I got off on a tangent.
No, no, well, they start foreclosing on your house, the banks.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want that.
No.
I don't that, and that's what I. It's not that I saw that, a while back. It's like, man, shit, I don't have anything. I mean, I am. I mean, I do frequent the bars, and I do spend a lot of money in them, but it's me. It's just me. I have bills to pay just like everybody else, but it's just, oh my God. I just got to thinking about it. I was like, man, I need to do something. I need
And
to
that
better myself, or else. And that's when I started doing the plumbing thing, which is a great trade.
Great trade.
Everybody out there, great trade. Get
And
into a trade.
and it's a trade that's not going to go away
Oh no, ever.
because people are always going to piss and shit,
Right. And they're gonna need running water
and they're going to need running
and
water.
gas. And that's what it's all about. I mean, of course, I had no idea that plumbers dealt with natural gas or even uh, what the hell is it called? Come on, propane.
Mhm.
Propane. Um,
Well, gas line.
yeah, we run gas
Yeah.
lines, and as a matter of fact, that's what I'm starting Monday. Oh, that's gonna be fun. Anyway, it's supposed to be nice. 85, so it should be cool. Um, yeah, I mean, I got into a trade. Now, what sucks is when I moved here, when I got back to Oklahoma, I accumulated over 6,500 hours in Texas, and the CIB here in Oklahoma not fucking recognize it. So pretty much those 3 years and those hours that I in Texas are just wiped. But I'm about 6 months away from having my 3 years here, and then I can go get my journeyman.
Nice.
And once I get that journeyman, doors start opening.
Dan, I remember having a conversation with one guy. He said, because when I was working in plumbing, that's what I was doing. I was working my apprenticeship to get my journeyman
Mhm.
license. And I want to say that he said, as soon as you get your driver or your journeyman's license, don't you take $1 under like 35 an hour or
Right.
some shit like that.
I won't take under 32,
Yeah.
and because so much comes with that journeyman, that blue card. I mean, so much. You can make them. The rule is you can have three apprentices underneath you. You could be on a job site and you could have three guys underneath you. I'm a hands-on guy. I'm not going to sit in the truck. I want to be. I don't like watching the clock.
That was the guy who was teaching me plumbing, Matt Morgan, man. He was a hands-on guy.
Right.
I learned so much from him.
Right. You want to. You stay busy. The day goes by. Next thing you know, it's time to go home. If you can. Sometimes you might make a cut and you're there till 9 o'clock at night. And that's just what happens. But the job gets done and you don't have to go back the next day. You get paid. That's it. It's over.
There was something very rewarding about plumbing at the end of the day.
Oh yeah.
Like I felt like I
You help
was
somebody out.
valued,
I mean,
did
just
value
doing water heaters, man. Those people might have been without hot water for 3, 4 days.
there were plenty of people that were like that. Like,
Yeah.
we haven't been able to take a hot shower in a week.
Right.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Right.
I used to
Oh,
have dudes that would sit out there. It annoys me when people watch me because some people who watch you are really nitpicky. But every once in a while, I get just a father who's like, "Man, huh? That's how that works." They
yeah.
were just
Right.
interested in
Right.
watching the process.
Right.
And I thoroughly enjoyed those jobs, man.
I like to. Yeah, those jobs great. I didn't like when people would act like that. Oh, that's not it. Oh, yeah. And then you hear from the boss the next day, well, he didn't like the way you did this. And,
Mm.
well, why didn't he say something to me about it then? And it's like, oh, that's too bad because that's just the way it's done. I mean, of course, there's new code every year. They always come out with new shit. The new code for,
And the most what is it about the code that outweighs the other? Because there's different codes, plumbing codes.
sure,
Like you got your plumber's book and you got your specific way, like Home Depot wants to do it, but then you have your regulation codes, and
right.
whichever one is uh
Well, you got your common code book, and then you
yeah.
got you got your
But some require more detailed things, and the
sure,
more detailed code is
right.
the one that trumps the
Different
other ones.
towns,
Yeah,
like Edmond. Okay, like example,
expansion tanks and things like that.
expansion tank,
I hate that.
ban. Edmond, you don't need an expansion tank. Oklahoma City, need expansion tank. Bethany, don't need hammer resters. It's just different towns, different things. But know what we do? Do it all.
Hmm. Because you don't want
Right.
an inspector to come in and be like, "Oh no, you missed this."
Right.
There, you cover it all.
Right. Cover it all. I mean, I work for Lieber Mechanical right now. Um, I'm probably going to be there until I retire because I just set up a retirement plan for them. This is the first since I've been back here. I've worked one, two, three, four. This will be the fifth company that I've worked for. Well, all these companies before. Well, there was one, but actually two that were going to apply insurance, but they were one was trying to get me to sell water filtration systems to these people, and they'd call me out to fix a cartridge on a sink or on a tub shower
Oh, and while
spout.
you're there,
Yeah.
you hey,
Well, when I first walked in the door, they wanted me. We had this little thing, tablets, whatever. They wanted me to check the water, check the pressure of the home, and check the pH balance. And then, well, if it didn't look good, they would have me call this guy and put him on speakerphone with the customer about getting them a filtration system.
see, I don't like that.
But me neither. I'm there to fix your problem.
Exactly.
That's it.
And as a home owner,
Right.
that's why I called you out
Right.
here. I didn't call you out here to sell me some shit.
Right. No, I mean, there were so many customers that they wouldn't really say it, but they pretty much told me in other words, get the fuck out of my house. Here's your $89 for your service charge, that your service fee for showing up and trying to, diagnose what I have going on. But I'm going to go with somebody else because you're trying to sell me a filtration system. And I wasn't. And that really sucked because I was the face that they saw. And it's like, I don't want to do this.
I don't like that shit
I
either.
don't want to come in. I wouldn't want that either. Someone come to my house and try to do that to me, I'd be like, get the fuck out of here, dude. I'm
So
not even going to pay you the service fee. Go fuck yourself.
with the installs that I used to do for Home Depot, they had a specific way that they wanted you to sell it to the
Oh,
customer,
sure, sure.
right? And so technically, I worked for Morgan Plumbing, but we were representing Home
Home
Depot,
Depot, right.
right? So we could not get work as the plumbing company from these people because they're technically Home Depot's customers, right? So I couldn't fix anything that was simple for them as a plumber because Home Depot wanted it sold this way. I used to tell people, because hot water, what people don't understand about hot water tanks from Home Depot is you buy the hot water tank and then you buy the service to come out and install it.
Hmm.
Well, Home Depot has to install it by code.
Yeah.
Most people's hot water tanks were not up to code.
Oh, no.
So we would come out and we would create this list of things that they needed, which would jump their price of the hot water tank from $798 to $1,798.
Right.
You know what I mean? And there were a lot of people that, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, we'll start you on this finance. Right.
We can sell you the Home Depot card, blah, 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 blah,
Right.
blah.
Yeah.
Whatever. There were many a times where I stopped and I was like, bro, you can fix this yourself. Come here.
Right.
I was like, you go buy a copper pipe cutter and this one specific one, they needed a hot water tank. But all that was wrong was uh, their line coming out of the wall had a leak on the top of the screw. Like
So that's how this
the
supply
copper
line.
line, the supply line.
Yeah.
The copper line had just eroded away and it was causing a leak, a little leak out of the water. Home Depot would require me to sell them the whole thing. Okay.
Right.
I pulled him aside and like, hey, bro, go back to Home Depot, return your hot water tank, buy yourself a shark bite supply line. I
Hmm.
was like, specific shark bite. So all you have to do is slide it on. You'll need to get a cutter, a copper pipe cutter, cut the line off.
Make sure you turn your water off.
Yeah, turn your water off. Cut the pipe, clean it up, slide that shark bite on, screw it back on here. Your problem solved. Less than $100. Those people were the most happiest people,
Right.
and I felt good leaving
Right.
because I know that I did not just rob them for money.
Right.
Like I solved their problem for them and helped them. Like be a good fucking
Right.
human being, dude. Like you're here to help people. That's one of the things that like I quit working for Matt because I felt like we got away from that. Was we're in the business to help people, not make money.
Right. Right.
Money will come,
Right.
you know.
That's the whole thing is you help people. I mean, not so much with the price, but you give them a little bit, like, you know, but
They'll call you.
they'll call you back. And
They'll
if you
call
do
you
quality
back.
work,
And
they will call you
in
back.
in specific situations like that, people would ask for a business card. Well, we were allowed to wear our plumbing shirts, which had the phone number on the back.
Right.
So I
Just
would
take a
tell
picture of my
people,
back.
it's like, I'm not allowed to solicit your work because we're technically here on behalf of Home Depot. But when I turn around and walk away, if you write down my phone number, that's on you,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
And I'm sure he got business because of that, because people appreciate that level of
Honesty.
honesty.
Right.
Like,
Right.
because he went from being able to almost spending $1,500 to probably spending less than $100.
Right.
And it fixed his fucking problem.
Right.
And that's what I want when I call somebody out to my house.
Right.
You know,
And that's the way
that's all that we
some plumbing
ask.
companies are like that.
Mhm.
But then there's plumbing companies that will be like, they will take you for a ride.
Yeah.
And that's how this company was. And then there was another company that I worked for. I'm not going to say any names because I don't want to put anybody on blast.
Understand?
And they were very pushy. You know, I was out replacing a sewer line at somebody's home. I'm talking like 70 foot or more, and probably 110 foot. And it's out in the yard, it's no big deal. But I'm getting a call every 15 minutes, like, how much longer is it going to take? Like, what do you mean? It's like, I got to take my gloves off just to answer your phone call. And they ended up taking the truck that I brought to that job with all the supply that I needed. I had to pull all the supplies off, all the parts off of the truck that I'm going to need to finish this job. And they brought out another truck with a water heater on it. They wanted me to go do after I was done with this. I'm like, I'm crawling around in piss and shit. I'm all muddy.
Mm-hmm.
And you want me to go into somebody's home and put in a water heater? I didn't get done till about 6 o'clock that night. But then I was like, call the people with the water heater. I'm not going to make it.
Yeah.
And the next morning I quit.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not
They were
pushed, because not only that, the boss that morning when we were at the shop told me that that sewer was the only job that I'm going to be doing that day. And then they pushed that on me, and it was because of his wife.
What do you mean?
His wife his wife made the decision that I'm going to go do this water heater after I'm done with the sewer, not him. Things changed. I'm not dealing with that shit. Don't push me. Don't call me every 15 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever. I'm busy.
I'm working.
I'm working here. It's not like I'm sitting around going, I got the customer out there with me, not working. Not only that, the guy I had working with me didn't have any tools, was greenhorn. He knew how to work an excavator. Thank God he can do something. So I made him do that. I made him dig out the old one. I pulled in. He was trying to pull, it was concrete, and they come out in like 8-foot sections, even smaller than that. And it might be 5 foot or 6 foot. But he was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna grab a chain and pull it all out at the same time." I was like, "No, there's sections, man. It's concrete." I was like, "Just crack it at the hub, crack hub, throw it, crack the hub, throw it, laid a new pipe. He didn't know what the hell he was doing. So that was another thing. It's like, you got me out here with a green guy who has no tools. I'm using my own tools to do this job. You're pushing me to move on and go do a water heater.
Which would cause you to do bad work,
Right. Because you're
rushing you.
rushing me. And so, yeah, so then I quit that and I started working for the smaller company. That was great, but he had no insurance because what companies, when they get to a certain amount of employees, they have to have you insured. Well, this guy was really small. He just had, it was me, him, and two other guys. There was only four guys in the whole outfit. Actually, there was another guy that worked in the shop, but he wasn't a plumber. He just ran parts out to us, and most of the time he would leave the shop at like noon. So he really wasn't much of a help.
Yeah.
And when we needed a part and needed him to go to lock, he still wasn't much of help because he didn't know what the hell he was looking for because he has no idea anything about plumbing. But I worked for him for about a month. I still talk to him. He's a great guy. He's an old Marine drill sergeant, and you wouldn't even know that if you met the guy. I mean,
Yeah.
he is so down, just humble, really great dude. But he let me go because I guess he felt like I didn't have enough experience. Whatever, that's cool. It worked out because now I'm working at this company now, Lever Mechanical. They actually do HVAC and plumbing, and I'm their service plumber. And dude, so I mean, my uh, my supervisor is not pushy at all. I mean, it'll be changing a cartridge in a tub shower, which will take me an hour at most, and that's going to the supply house to grab the right cartridge after I pull it. He'll give me 2 hours. Shit, he'll give me 3 hours. You know, there's no pushing. And not only that, like, say we have a busy day and I need to, more, he'll push that last call. He'd like, he'll call to our secretary and be like, have call this customer and let them know that we'll be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. It's awesome. I mean, it's not that I'm over there bullshitting and whatever. Sometimes you know how it is.
Yeah.
You run into stuff
You run into
all
you
the time.
pull a toilet and
The flange is gone.
destroyed,
Right.
and you have to install a new flange.
It's,
Yeah. That's I used to tell people that before I pull their toilet.
Right.
Like I still to because some people I'd still go help people with things like do you know Matt Schneider at Mindbender?
Yeah. Yeah.
I went and helped him with some plumbing work at his house because I had the day off. And I still enjoy doing that kind of work,
Sure.
And especially helping out my friends, you know. And I went over and I was like, "Hey, man," I explained to him, I was like, "Hey, we can pull all this stuff out, but we might run into this type of issue with this type of issue. I highly recommend you replacing from the ball valves all the way up. Especially
Right.
if you're going to live in this house and if you're going to buy new ball valves, I highly recommend you get the quarter turn ones
Right.
instead of the turn ones.
Yeah, the gate. You don't
Especially-
want the gate.
Yeah, because those fucking break over. They're plastic. They wear down. This one's fucking all metal and stuff. Like it'll last you much longer. It's
Right.
more expensive, but it's better worth it. Especially if you plan to live in this house for a long time. And I still tell people, especially if I'm doing a toilet, I'm like, "Hey, I can come over and help you replace your toilet, but if I pull this up, I'm not equipped to replace the flange that's underneath it that holds the thing, that holds the toilet to the ground. Like, if you need to replace that, you're unfortunately going to have to call a plumbing company. You got to work?
No. Hey, Scott, let me call you back, man.
Okay.
All right.
Hi, Scott. But I always tell people that, like, hey, we run in, and I did that when I was working. When I was replacing toilets, especially.
Oh, yeah.
Toilets.
That's the first thing that I'm like.
I pulled one up one time, and there was a root sticking out.
Right.
of the flange. Like you got roots growing in. So somewhere down the line, your pipe is
Right. Broken.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only reason way roots get in your line
Right.
is they broke in.
Right.
Like there's dirt getting in there
You got a
somewhere along.
tree coming out.
Yeah.
You got a tree coming out here, and
And
I'm gonna need to camera this.
my boss used to load us up for the day too. He'd be like, "You have these 5 jobs, for the day, and when you got done, you got done. That was 8 o'clock at night. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was 8 o'clock at night.
Right.
But guess what? You got done. You're on a salary. You get paid this much a week,
Mm,
which means technically you're only getting
right.
when 5 o'clock comes around, he's getting paid, but
Right.
you're not.
No. That I
You don't
wouldn't.
get any extra money.
No.
That shit
Love
used to
that.
piss me
Yeah.
off.
No.
Like,
You're not.
and
I would never work salary
there
for a plumbing
was
company
there
ever.
was many. Well, I didn't know any better.
Oh,
It
okay.
was the first plumbing I had ever done in my
Okay.
life. I was doing apprentice stuff, and it was much better money than I had been making.
Sure. Sure.
Because I was at the loony bin at the time and working at Chili's on the
Yeah.
expressway in
Yeah. I
Rockwood.
remember that. Yeah.
That's when I started plumbing. Like it was, the plumbing job paid me. He paid me well. Like I truly appreciate it. It allowed me to buy the truck that I had and everything, and he paid me well. Don't get me wrong, but I quit getting paid at 5 o'clock.
Right. And he's
And
getting
he's
paid.
still, and there were many a times where I'd get a call when I'm finishing. All right, man. Hey, I'm done. 5:30. Just finished that last job. About to. Oh man, we just got a call. Somebody needs a plumb.
Yeah. Well.
Well, it's 5:30 and I'm
Yeah.
going home.
Yeah. Well, I'm not
Hey,
getting paid anymore, so
hey,
I'm going home.
during the summers, man, I used to be sarcastic with them sometimes because it would be like 4 o'clock and I finished a job and we didn't have anything else. But it was a hot day, right? And I'd call and be like, "Hey, is there anything else before I go home?" "Oh no, man, we're good." I was like, "What do you mean? My shirt's not completely soaked and sweaty."
Right.
"What do you
Yeah.
mean I'm going home? That doesn't seem right." I used to fucking, but I mean, that was a little slight jab. Thanks for not fucking working me so hard. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Right.
Brian, sir, we are cusping 3 hours.
Okay. I
So
think we're done.
before we finish, this is how I've been ending my podcasts.
Okay.
What is something you've learned in life? Not today, not over our conversation.
Right.
What is something that you can share with people that you have learned?
Be humble. I mean, just be humble. Help out your friends, help out your family, you know, not because you have to, just because it feels good at
It's
the
the
end of
right
the
thing to
day.
do.
Right. It is the right thing to do, and it makes you feel good. Yeah, you know, just be humble. Don't be a dick, you know. Enjoy your life, the best you can. I mean, there's people out there that have situations, um, and all I can do is, you know, wish them the best. I can try to be there for them, but shit, man, sometimes it's like you're in a shit show, shit storm, and you're gonna have to work your way out of it. But just be humble, help out the best you can with friends, family. I mean, shit. I'm not saying go out and feed the homeless or anything like that, but shit, if that makes you feel good, and do it. I mean, I just don't have time to do that kind of stuff. I have friends that do. Disty. I mean, that guy when he hits sobriety, man, he's become holy crap. I mean, it's not that I thought of him badly when he was drinking, but there was times back in the day where it was like, wow, ooh, what's going on with that guy? But now, I mean, geez, totally changed. Great dude. I have a lot of good friends, and I have a very tight. I mean, I have a lot of acquaintances,
You
and I
only
only
have
have so many friends. You know, I mean, I these on these two hands, I could probably count the actual friends that I have,
Yeah.
but acquaintances, and they're people that I love, and I'm humble for them, and they're humble to me. But got to keep your circle small. Otherwise, a lot of people start asking too much of you, and that's what I found out over the years. Just keep your circle small and stay humble and be happy. You know, I know driving around Oklahoma City and there's stupid ass people and you want to give them the finger, and I do, but try not to because people carry guns. They will shoot at you. So just be humble.
And
That's what
that's why I wanted to talk to you today because one, you're my favorite Deneen.
Oh yeah.
I know you're my wife's favorite. My
Okay.
wife absolutely adores you. Um, but you're one of the most genuine human beings I've ever met in my life.
And that's all I try to be.
And that's why I wanted to talk to you. I love our conversations, man.
Right.
I love
I
them.
mean, shit. We've been sitting here for 3 hours.
I know.
Not even notice.
So today you helped me cusp into double digits. Will you help me cusp into triple digits when it comes around?
Sure.
So you'll be episode 10, probably in between this as well, but then episode 100 as well.
Okay.
And then when we cusp into 4 digits, you'll be episode 1000.
Nice.
All right.
Let's do it.
All right, everybody, have a good day. I hope you enjoyed Brian Deneen of the Deneen clan. His brother Bill will be on here next week, and we're going to talk conspiracy theories.
Oh God, he's gonna break 3 hours.
I might show up at like 9 just for that.
Dude, he's gonna